Round 10 of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series. Hello and welcome. Nice to be at your place, wherever you're joining us all around Australia. Tonight we head to South America and the first and only stop in Brazil this season. It's the first of the two Enduros. It's round 10 of 17. It's the Wake Cartel 250 from the Interlagos circuit in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Zach Cabin, Chris Kisby and Matt Davis with you as we launch into round 10 of the season. Early start time because the race is a little bit longer tonight. 58 laps ahead of these drivers on the great Grand Prix circuit there in Sao Paulo, one of the great Grand Prix circuits anywhere in the world. And of course, it is the home of the Brazilian Grand Prix. This is a critical point of the season because the boys are going to be tested like they've not been tested yet this season tonight. We up it from 150 to 250 kilometres. And this is, if you don't mind, what the race info looks like for you here, ladies and gentlemen, for this evening. It's 58 laps on a 4.309 kilometre circuit. The race distance, it says 250 kilometres, but I've done the math. It's just a smidgen under. We're not going to hold that against anybody. 55-litre fuel restriction on these cars, but that means 3 stops, 3.3 litre a lap fuel burn as well, and 2 sets of tyres, the one they start on, and then somewhere during that race, they've got to decide when they take on their second set of tyres. Race date is set for the 20th of April 2021 at 2 o'clock track time, which is a little bit into the future Australian time, of course. 26 is the air temp, 39 on track, southerly winds rather, 10 kilometres an hour. As I mentioned, Chris Kisby and Matt Davis are here with me. I'll welcome in Chris Kisby at this point in time. We'll get to Matt Davis in just a moment. He's going to take us on a hot lap of this magnificent Interlagos circuit. Kisby, good to have you back after a week off, mate. Great to be into enduro mode for the first time this season. Critical point of the championship. We've just passed halfway, and still there's maybe 3 or 4 championship contenders here, and we might sort out the men from the boys here tonight.
Oh, we certainly might. Good evening to you there, Zach. Good evening, Matt, and JP in the background there. And most of all, good evening to you viewers. Yeah, it's what a cracker of a track from the very tight turn 1 right round to the looping last turn as you're coming up the hill to go down the main straight. Love this track. So long as I can actually get around that first corner, first 2 corners. But, great racing that I've seen, and I did hear about last week's racing there. Apologies to the viewers there that follow us regularly that I wasn't able to make it last week. And these V8s, they're setting a cracking time around here, aren't they, Zach?
They certainly are. Cameron Jones on top at the moment, 133.58. Now, we set that benchmark very early in this 30-minute qualifying session. There are just 6.5 minutes left in the session. We'll deal with the ins and outs of qualifying and the championship points for you in just a moment. But firstly, have a look at the bloke on screen here, the number 148, Matt Davis, out there to give us a hot lap. Whether it will be as entertaining or more entertaining than last week remains to be seen, because last week he was on the ragged edge on the absolute limit around the Hockenheim circuit in Germany. Matt, good evening to you. We're going to have you for the opening stanza of this race and obviously this hot lap now. And then you're going to go off and prepare the vocal cords for a cracking race tomorrow night in the Goodyear Auto Caravana series. But first up, mate, let's get you to talk us through what is one of the great racetracks anywhere in the world. It has a little bit of everything and something for everyone.
Good evening to you, Zach. Good evening to you, Chris, JP, the director, and everybody at home. Welcome to the Wake Cartel Interlagos 250. Coming out on the back straight, top of 5th gear, clicking into 6th just before the pit entry. Hug it nice and close to the tyre barrier. Push it right out wide. Just before the 100 board, smash the brakes on, nice and heavy, all the way back down into 2nd, under the bridge, trail that brake right into the apex. Little bit of a pickup into 3rd, squeeze it on and coming around into the left-hander. Pick it up just halfway through the corner and then smash it back down onto the 5th wall. Pick it up through the gears, 5th gear, into 6th, just before you hit the brakes, just before the 100 board, smash the brakes on, back down into 2nd. Quick click up into 3rd gear, to flick it round to the left, stay off that AstroTurf, nice and slippery, flat to the board in 4th, up into 5th, run it wide out right out wide I should say.
That's it.
Trail the brake in, not too much, try and get it turned in, out onto the ripple strip, hard on the brakes, back down into 1st gear, flip the apex, up into 2nd, let it coast through. Let the car come right out onto the ripple strip. Hard on the brakes again. Back down into first. Up over the ripple strip. In first, second. Back up into third. Quick little lift. As you come out, flat to the board. Fourth gear. Come out onto the ripple strip again. Straight back down into second. Trail the brake right into the corner. Big slide coming out. Up into third gear. Up into fourth as you come out onto the back straight again. Coming through the left hand, it just shoots you right out to the edge of the track. Up into fifth, hug the wall again as you come into pit lane. Do the old trick, pull back out. Come across the start finish line, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lap of Interlagos.
Very nicely done. Kept it on the black stuff. Didn't clout the wall. Matty Davis in fine form on a Tuesday night. Now, let's talk about a couple of things here. Firstly, the circuit and then the sponsor. The circuit, judging by what I was watching there from your onboard lap, Matty, you're using a lot of the ripple strips, but trying to keep off the AstroTurf. So the ripple strips, yes. The AstroTurf, no.
Definitely. You can definitely throw the car over the curbs and try and use a lot of it. Not at too much of a high speed, though. You don't want to be jumping the car. It does tend to bounce it and it will shoot you out wide onto that AstroTurf, which is not what you want. So not a lot of grip either on the brakes when you're on the ripple strips. So the guys are definitely going to have to be careful, especially on the rears coming over the ripple strips. That's a big one. And AstroTurf is, well, that's just a straight out no-no. It's like grass out there.
It certainly is. Now, secondly, we mentioned the sponsor for this evening, of course, Wake Cartel. That is you, my friend. Tell us a little bit about it.
That's definitely it. The Wake Cartel, that is definitely me. We are a boating and water sport based business. So anything to do with the water sport related with boats, water skiing, wakeboarding, wake surfing, you know, throwing the kids out behind the boat on the tube, all that sort of stuff. We're to do with that. So got a clothing brand at the moment, and later on down the track we'll branch into going into our own ski ropes and etc.
Good to see more than moths coming out of your wallet there, Matt.
Hey, also, good evening and welcome to Jay Eagle, who's tuning in Rotorua, New Zealand this evening. And how good's Rotorua on a Tuesday night in April? Of course, the travel bubble is open between Australia and New Zealand. Thankfully, common sense has prevailed despite one airport worker testing positive today. It's still open, ladies and gentlemen. Keep our fingers crossed. I know a mate of mine in terms of TCR Australia commentator, Greg Rust, he's now based in New Zealand. He's been out here for 3 months with TCR commitments. He's been able to get back and see his family. He's not the only one making the most of that travel bubble opening up between Australia and New Zealand in the last couple of days. Good to see. And, of course, for Jay's benefit, this race will finish just before midnight your time, mate, just before 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. We are in the closing stages of qualifying here. Probably an opportune moment for us to have a look at the championship standings as we venture into this round. And by G, and what a storyline this is. Lassif Leonage, the points leader at the moment.
Oops.
We'll see if we can get that again for you, ladies and gentlemen. 13.28 plays Cameron Vicock. 13.01, so 27 points the margin.
Come on, Rainer.
12.56 for Rainer Costello, 12.32 for Alex Court, and 12.23 for Cameron Jones. And then Blake Urquhart, 11.23, just 2 points clear of Ben Morris. 1,010 for Alan Dawson, 6 points clear of Jacob Brewer. And then Robert Chrisdale rounds at the top 10 on 977 points. You would say, Chris Kisby, that it's between 3 or 4 of the guys at the top of the order there. You've also got to take into consideration drop rounds and a couple of other things as well. But the top 4 have cemented themselves as the ones to watch, haven't they?
They're definitely the favourites there, mate, the top 4 there. Actually, I reckon Alex Court, he likes our commentating style, and we must have given him a good plug because he actually friended me on Facebook the other day. So he's been he was at the 8s on the weekend, I noticed, through his Facebook page, and got him to go into the pit garage. So very excited for him and hope he had a fantastic time.
Indeed. Now, newcomer into the series tonight. You can see it down the bottom there. Position number 39, Matthew Hill on the grid tonight. A karting mate of mine from the Newcastle Kart Club. They just had a very special, significant meeting at the Newcastle Kart Club over the weekend. The Rod and Nicole Franks Memorial. 2 names.
You told him they weren't karts, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Synonymous with karting in that part of the world. And Matt on the back of that has got into the sim. Tom Heyman out, Matt Hill in, and it's going to be interesting to see how Matt goes tonight. He messaged me earlier, said, I'm going to give it a crack. I said, you've picked a good night, 250 kilometres. He said, oh, God, the first I've been is about 150. I said, well, get ready, mate. It's going to be a big night at the office for you. You're going to go all right. Looking forward to seeing how he fares tonight at the moment. I'm just looking down the order.
So tell me, Mr. Caven.
Yes, yes.
When does it actually cool down here for late autumn and winter up here in this state?
About the end of May. we only have 2 seasons here. We have a 9-month summer and a 3-month winter. That's about it.
Oh, mate, I tell you.
Now, I was talking about Matthew Hill, already in 8th position, the youngster from Newcastle. So doing very nicely at this point in time. Let's see how he goes tonight. I say Newcastle, but of course he's more local to Maitland as well. So hello to everyone watching in the Hunter Valley this evening. Checkered flag out, session at an end. We're watching Cameron Veacock on a last-minute flyer here. So let's see what he can pull out. Currently sitting down in 9th position. He won't be happy with that. He'll be wanting some sort of improvement in this last lap of qualifying. And then we get stuck into the race, which is going to be huge, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. No green sectors for Veacock here, so it could be an uphill mission for him tonight. But Matt Davis, as you well know, being 58 laps as opposed to the usual 150 kilometres, it's a 250 kilometre. Yes, you've got an extra pit stop. Yes, you've got an extra few things to consider, but it's not going to be one in the first corner. You've got a little bit more time at your disposal tonight. So if you have a bad qualifying, you've got more time to redeem it.
I wouldn't say you got more time to redeem it tonight. The guys are only limited down to 2 sets, and one to start the race with and one to pit with. So it's definitely going to be a long race. The tyre degradation around here can be high, can be extremely high around here. So it's going to be an interesting race to watch, that's for sure.
Now, a couple of things that we didn't mention in the pre-race amble there. Pit lane speed 72 kilometres an hour. That's important to note. You don't want to get done speeding in the pit lane. 19x is where incident count penalties kick in, and that almost became a talking point last week. And then every 9x thereafter. So that's at iRacing's disposal, of course. So if you annoy iRacing too much and get hit with 19x at any point throughout the course of the evening, you come into pit lane. And that will be interesting to see if that plays a part. I mean, we were only talking about it last week because of the runoff area and the AstroTurf and a few other things, a few guys stretching the limits of friendship there. But let's wait and see what tonight brings. This is going to be a fascinating race, ladies and gentlemen. 58 laps. The grid looks like this. Cameron Jones and Lassif Leonage from the front row. Rainer Costello and Alex Court from row 2. Ben Morris and Ash Davis from row 3. Sean McNamara and Matthew Hill from row 4. Cameron Veacock and Scott McCune from row 5. Simon Vella and Simon Chadwick and all Simon row 6. Row 7 is Robert Crisdale and Peter Crossingham. Row 8, Dean Powell and Darren Caldwell. Row 9, Chris Barnes, Michael Angus. Row 10, Brian Cooper and Alan Dawson. Row 11, David Kirby and John Nicolaf. Good qualifying from John, which is rare. 12th row is Tim Mulford and Lindsay Hobbs. That's no disrespect to John. That's just going off statistics. Row 13, Ben Siren and Craig Schultz. Row 14, Wade Michael and Craig Newell. Row 15, Steve Vella and Sam Katakazinas. Row 16, Blake Urquhart and Daniel Schultz. Row 17, David Leslie and Jim Delios. Row 18 is where you find the safety car and the hot lapper, Lee and Matt Davis. Very nicely done. Will the safety car get a run tonight? It did last week. Let's wait and see what might unfold. We go from Hockenheim to Interlagos, from one Grand Prix cracker to another.
Watch turn 1.
Let's wait and see what happens here. The first Enduro of the season, the Wake Cartel 250 is away. Good conversion off the line from Cameron Jones and Lassif Leonage. They go side by side on the run towards turn 1. Rainer Costello looking to range up there on the outside. Alex Court coming up on his inside as well. Can everybody scramble through there safely? So far, so good.
Nice.
Good to see. Over 34 cars getting through the first corner. clean and unscathed. Good to see as they stretch down the back straight for the first of 58 times. Rainer Costello already ranging up there on the inside of Lasse Leonage. The youngster wants to go for it in the early stages. A little bit wobbly going into turn 4, but he's side by side there with Leonage. Can he get his nose up on the inside? Yes, he can. And Rainer Costello has charged a second. Very nice conversion off the line from the youngster. Jones, Leonage, Costello as they make their way through. Costello getting by Leonage to go to second. So that's a nice clean start. Holden forward, Holden, then Alex Court, Sean McNamara and Cameron Veacock already up 3 places to 6. Matthew Hill up to 7th. Ben Morris and Ash Davis have both dropped 3 spots, but they remain inside the top 10. And Simon Chadwick brings out the top 10 at the moment as they come through the back section of the circuit to the end of the second split. Nice clean getaway from Cameron Jones. The question, Matt Davis, is can he stay there?
It's from statistics, as you said, in the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been well. Once he's out front, though, as we saw at Watkins Glen, he holds his own and he can motor onto the fish. So he's wanting to try and get away from Costello here because Jones under pressure, he doesn't do too well, as we've noticed in the past weeks. So he'd be wanting to maintain that gap, bring it out to over 1.5 seconds and just try and maintain that through the whole race. But Costello, new set of pedals tonight. He's gotten rid of the old Thrustmasters. He's gotten the new V3 pedals, so he's got a load cell under him now. And for those that don't know, the difference between obviously parameter braking pedal and a load cell is significant. You've got a lot more control with a load cell, and Costello, as you can see, under brakes is definitely a lot stronger than what he was in the previous weeks.
Indeed he is. So Jones and Costello have gapped the competition at the moment. Leonage sits there third, Court, McNamara and Veacock the next 3 through.
You didn't hear it from me last week, but you'll hear it from me this week. Go, you good thing, Rainer.
Chris Kisby, the unofficial leader of the Rainer Costello fan club, joining us in Central tonight. And good to have him back as well. Lap 2 of 58, 250 kilometres ahead of these guys tonight. Jones, Costello, through they come one more time. That's turn 11 into 12. The run down to 13. Good move. Good start.
To the rumble as these cars hit the corner.
Yeah, good start further back in the field for Daniel Schultz from 32nd to 22nd already. Schultz on a charge in the early stages here on the opposite end of the scale. David Kirby's dropped down to last in the order, and Brian Cooper's dropped down from 19th to 30th. So he's lost 11 positions already as well. So they come across the line. Lap 2 done. The sound, the roar, the muscle and grunt of V8 supercars as Chadwick charges down on the inside to 9th, going by Ash Davis now into turn 1. Right there, almost, was Cameron Veacock, just a couple of cars up front. That's going to allow McNamara to skip away and Hill to creep up onto his nose. So you're going to have Hill and Veacock vying and jockeying for 6th position any tick of the clock here. Here's the replay of the move. Simon Chadwick on Ash Davis. Nice, clean move. The 2 teammates. Sensible play indeed. Yep. This race isn't going to be won too early here. Now, move for the lead as well. Rainer Costello's got the lead back from Cameron Jones. So Rainer Costello, for the first time tonight, leads this race. Have a look at this on the SimSnap iRacing.com replay. On the run to turn 1. He set it up beautifully.
Oh, in the inside there, yeah.
Nicely done.
Late on the brakes. Turns the car, gets the car turning, or rotating, as they say. Down and around. Oh, beautiful. Geez, I wish I could do that.
Yes, don't we all? Now,
it looks a lot. It's a lot harder than what it looks, Chris Kisby.
Well, it is, and I do have to say there, Matt Davis, that I can get it 1 every 10 laps.
Now, there's drive-through penalty here, boys, for the 85. The 85 is coming to pit lane for contact on the 307. Now, the 307 is, of course, David Kirby. And the 85...
Didn't even see that.
Mulford.
Yeah, Mulford. So Mulford's on his way to the pit lane, which is unfortunate for him. But you do the crime, you do the time, as they say. So Tim Mulford in 31st position at the moment. Down to pit lane he comes as the rest of the field continues on lap 4. Dean
Mr.
Power.
Director, we might try and find that.
Simon Vella up on his outside at the moment. Battles everywhere you look right here, right now. Jones all over the back of Costello. Court's following Leonard. She's under pressure from McNamara and Veacock. Then a little bit of a gap to Matthew Hill, who's got Morris, Chadwick, Davis, Crisdale, Powell, Vella in close pursuit. So too Crossingham and Burns. Or Barnes, rather. So here we go. Here's that replay. Mulford and Kirby.
Round.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Tap, bang.
Yep.
1, 2, a Contretemps. 3 or 4 cars involved in that.
wonder
Lindsay
why-
Hobbs as well.
Wonder why they didn't come up on me crash cam.
Now, first lap, it's not going to be one on lap 1. I think there are some drivers in the field that have got that memo and some that haven't. Rainer Costello, he's going hard, going early. Matt Davis, do you reckon that the youthful exuberance might not serve him well in the long run here? Because you look at Leonard, you look at Court, they're happy to let these guys go. They're happy to play a patient game here. Do you think that we'll see the tables turn towards the back end of the race?
Oh, most likely. I think Rainer Costello works well in clean air. He does like to push hard and battle, but he also likes having someone push him around the track, and that's when he really likes to really get into his element, look after the tyres, and he can manage his pace from there. So Cam Jones and obviously Leonard and Court being not that far behind them is obviously might pay dividends for Rainer here, but Jones is looking racy. Leonard is just probably going to be playing the safe game here, looking for that clean race, no incident points, an extra 5 bonus points. He didn't get the 5 bonus points for pole position tonight, so he's going to be looking for a clean race just to gain and extend his lead just that little bit more in the championship, I'd say, Zach.
Indeed, have a look at this. That's Crossingham up there on the inside of Barnes. So that's to 14th now for Crossingham. Next target is Simon Vella, a little bit further up the road, obviously. Now, interesting to point out too, when you look at the fuel burn, the restriction, everything else, 3.3 litres a lap, 55 litre tank, somewhere in the vicinity of 16 3/4 laps here per run. So you're not going to get 17 out of the tank, but it's going to make it interesting in terms of when and how you play your cards.
Well, see, what you're going to find here, Zach, is that Lassage and that they seem not to be pushing so hard. So hopefully they'll get that extra lap. Whereas Rainer, he's having to push hard to stay in front of Jones. And so they'll be on 2 different strategies there. That's the only thing I can see here. But then having said that about Interlagos, it is a nice flowing track. There's plenty of space to get around. You can see people coming. There's no surprises around a corner. So unless you actually get stuck into lap traffic and stuff like that, it's a really good track to just sit there and flow around. Rainer, as Matt said, likes to lead from the front, clean air in the front. He likes to push hard, get as much of a gap on as he can. But he's going to have to, because it looks like 3rd and 4th are just edging their little bets here and trying to get that extra overlap.
Matt, I'll come to you. Very good points made by Chris Kisby there. When you look at this fact that it's 16.66 litres to a tank, based on the numbers we've been given, that means only the smallest amount of fuel savings required to get 17 out of a stint. But whatever the case is, you're going to have to stop 3 times, 17, 34, 51. Consequently, because the last stint would be a short stint rather than a full stint, we're looking at maybe, 7 laps. If you go on those 17 lap stints or 16 laps, you're looking at 10 laps for that last stint. There's a chance here to play a very different game and mix it up a little bit and do long run, short run, long run, short run in terms of thinking about when and where you put this set of tyres on that everybody's hanging out for.
The strategy tonight is going to be the key talking point and the key part of the race for every single driver out on the field tonight. It's got Dean Powell all over the back of, by the looks of it, I'm not sure who that one is. I'm just having a look at Ash Davis coming through the long sweeper there. It's going to play dividends. Does he has a look up the inside? No, he doesn't. it's going to play dividends as if I can get it out with so much going on at the moment. Simsnap.com replay for you. Jim Delios going for a mow, having mow on the grass for Interlagos GP circuit here. So he's obviously feeling a little bit mowy. And
He's
just
got
a
a
little bit
bite
too much
there.
gas on the little bit too much gas on the exit off the grass there. So
And that's exactly what you said about staying off the grass and the AstroTurf.
Oh, that's exactly right. As soon as you're on that, it's like an ice skating rink. So Jim Delios found that on out the hard way. He went to go do a little bit of mowing for the boys, and turns out he just decided to spin himself around. So, but the strategy is big. You can do. We saw it last week at Hockenheim, I believe. There was the short fuel in the middle of the race. It was a big one, and I think a few of the boys are going to give that another crack tonight. I believe Macca's going to give it a crack. He was one to really capitalise on that. So it's going to be interesting. It's one to watch. I can't even pick where I would pit tonight. It's all over the place, and it's already doing my head in, and I'm not even in the car.
So Matt, yeah, you're looking at Jones here, sticking there into the toe of Rayner. How much fuel save is that going to give him?
It depends on how much Cam wants to lift coming into corners. By the looks of it, he's not lifting much. He's staying and maintaining that 0.2, 0.3 of a gap behind Rayner. So fuel saving comes down to, and I mentioned it last week, you lift it early out of the corners. And when I'm talking early, and we saw it last night with Shane Wallace in the GT3s with the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club. What a drive by him. He was lifting coming 200 metres into the corner before he even had to hit his brake marker. So that's where the fuel saving comes into play. And he was still maintaining a lead and a pace that no one else could maintain. So Rayner might be doing the same. We don't know. Obviously not on board at the moment to be able to find out. But if we stay on board with Jones here, I reckon we might be able to see what he does coming into turn one here, coming off the back straight. If he lifts, you'll notice the speed will rapidly drop before the one. He'd be being in the toe, he'd be braking about the 150 board. So
yep,
you'll be wanting to lift around the 200, 225 mark. We'll watch here. He's right in the toe, so speed up around 265k an hour. Backs out at 150. So he's lifted a little bit just to wash off a little bit of speed behind Rayner. So not too much fuel saving going on there. He could have lifted a lot earlier and just coasted the brake right into the apex.
Yeah, that's one corner that you don't want to be right up in the toe. Is turn one, because many a time I've been thrown. Yeah,
something to be said about the pressure that this applies also to Rayner Costello as well. He's got to keep a very level head about him, knowing that the slightest slip up and Jones is going to get through here. So there'll be two minds in which Jones play this. He can play the fuel save mentality, or he can play the let's apply the blowtorch and put the pressure on this young fella and see if he lives up to the pressure he can sustain it.
That's exactly right. And from that on board, it didn't look like Rayner was pushing actually too hard. I'm used to seeing, and we're all used to seeing, at home and in the booth here, Rayner really squirming on the brakes as we see lock up by Caldwell. That's not going to be good for the tyres. Rayner's a little bit squirmy coming under the brakes, but by the looks of it, he's nice and settled tonight. Obviously, really gelling with the new pedals already. It takes a lot of time to transition with new pedals. But he's not squirmy. He's nice and easy on the power. He's not letting the car slide coming out of the apex and out onto the curbs there. He's just letting the car do its own thing and maintaining it and steering it with those rear tyres. And when I talk about steering it with the rear tyres, it's steering it with your right foot. All about throttle control.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, just a bit of an update for you folks. Race order, it's coming across the bottom of your screen there. Costello, Jones, Leonage, Court, McNamara, Hill, Vidcock, Morris, Chadwick and Crisdale at the end of 10 laps here. Chadwick and Crossingham into the pit lane. Chadwick and Crossingham bite the bullet and go early here. Maybe that's tactical, back on what I was saying in the fact that the third stop, the fourth stint doesn't have to be a full run. Maybe they're getting their short run out of the road and they'll go full stints from here to the checkered flag. 48 laps remaining after the one we're on now, as the great Murray Walker would have said. Costello and Jones continue to dominate at the front of the field, but Leonage and Court haven't let them get too far away. They're sitting there content at the moment.
What a moment.
What about that? 3 wide coming out of turn 4. And they only just kept it all together. Chris Barnes. Magnificent.
iRacing photography replay here, Zach. Talk us through it.
So this is Chris Dale and the 88 behind him, Dean Power. And then you get Barnes and a couple of others trying to take evasive action here. Oh, wow.
Dean
Yeah.
Power had a slide coming into turn 5 there, so...
Jeez.
5, 6. Do we call that 6 or do we call it 5? Do we call the big long sweep of just one constant corner? Because...
Louis?
Yeah. So 4 is the left-hand, the first part of that left-hander. And 5 is the exit of that left-hander.
Well, there we go.
So at the double apex 2 corner. Yep. 4 and 5. So, McCune sitting there in 12th at the moment, chasing Barnes, Powell. Crisdale skip clear of this bunch. So that again, Crisdale was right there under pressure from those guys. But
McCune
that little moment for Powell allowed him to skip away. McCune down on the inside. To 11th he goes on the inside of Barnes. Nicely done.
Someone needs to tell his pit crew to bolt his seat down. Look how much he's moving up and down.
Yeah, exactly. He's having a wild ride. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Hey, quickly, can I just say, I mentioned, what about that up the outside? McCune's been passed by Barnes there.
On the brakes.
Barnes around the outside, under brakes. Very nicely done. Brave and bold, but again, it's only lap 11. These guys are racing as though it's lap 51. It's fantastic. The intensity early on.
Inside.
Not quite.
No,
not able to get it done. Can I just say, too, I was mentioning Matthew Hill being a newcomer here is a little bit worried about 58 lap factor. Well, he's sitting 6th at the moment. Very much holding his own in his NTS Series debut this season.
How many laps do they normally do in the karts?
Well, depends on the meeting, but the most, I think he did 20 up here for the final of the national round in February. Yeah, from 20 kilometres to 250, it's a big step up. There's no doubt about that. Right. But that being said, Matt does have sim racing experience, and he was saying to me earlier, the most he's done like in a sim race, so on circuits much longer than the karts, is about 35 laps. So he signed up for more than time and a half tonight. There's no doubt about that.
Welcome to the big boys,
nicely so far, and again, he's only 19 years of age, so he is, get this, he is 10 years and 364 days younger than me. So he's September 14 and I'm September 15. He turns 20 on the 14th and I turn 31 on the 15th this year. So yeah, he's young, much like Costello and a few others that we talk to week in, week out here.
Oh, you're all baby.
That youthful exuberance, that physical fitness will see him through. Cameron Jones all over the back of Rainer Costello as we turn our attention back to the front of the field now. The Wake Cartel Interlagos 250 on SimShed, broadcasting around Australia. Great to have your company. We're even streaming into New Zealand tonight with our friends watching it there in Rotorua as well. Cameron Jones all over the back of Costello. We've got a Ford v Holden scrap here at this point in time. It's exactly the way we like it in the early stages. We're easing up towards the first pit window. Some guys have already taken the gamble and come in early. In fact, looking through the field, Ben Siren came in on lap 9, Wade Michael on lap 6, Simon Bella on lap 11, Peter Crossing and Ash Davis on lap 9 and 8, Chadwick on lap 9. So they've already seen,
here we go.
We've already seen some activity on pit lane. But the main stuff is yet to come. Jones down the inside to take the lead away from Costello. Job done on the start of lap 13.
Rainer says you can have it. I'm not
order restored. The pole sitter gets back to the front, but Costello's right there. And that in itself has allowed Leonage and Court to start to chop the gap in half. And they have their chance to chime in and just latch onto the back of this. And we could all of a sudden have a four-way car fight for the front of the field here. Maybe five with McNamara there as well. So it could be a freight train of dozen. Oh, look at this.
McCune up the inside of Barnes.
Yep.
Crossover. He's got it. No,
he hasn't.
A little bit of a wiggle by Barnes.
Yes, he will. Yeah. No.
McCune's been pushed wide.
Got him, yeah.
And 2-for-1 deal.
So there you go, up towards turn 6. And
Michael Angus gets in on that too.
Yep, McCune, order restored there. He goes to 11th. So yeah, you've got a 5-car fight at the front of the field, almost the half dozen there. I mean, to be fair, Matthew Hill's only 1.2 seconds off McNamara at the moment. So the closer those guys get, the more they start jockeying for position, the more that's going to help someone like Matthew Hill out. So keep your eyes on that. It could be a half dozen way fight at the front of the field. The freight train is growing, which is good to see. Action everywhere you look tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting your bang for your buck here. Don't worry about that. Michael Angus all over the back of Scott McCune here at the moment as they make their way round onto the main strut. Another lap in the books, 13 down at what makes 45 to go. But they go quick. This is, as far as racetracks are concerned, this is a nice fast one for the supercars.
Angus
down the inside.
Runs
and running it a little bit wide, and that'll allow McCune to come back up. He's outside and get the position back. Oh, nicely done from McCune, back to 11th. The hard work had been done from Michael Angus, but he just wasn't able to consolidate the move as they make their way down the back straight one more time. Now he has another lunge down the inside. Not close enough. Tucks back in. He yields for the moment. Lap 14 of 58. 45 to go. And if they can keep this intensity up, I can understand why Matt Davis isn't going to be with us for the full call tonight, because we won't have a voice. And he needs to have one for tomorrow night, because the Goodyear Auto Kevin Runner T2 V8 Series is coming up for you tomorrow night, folks, from 7:50 Australian Eastern Standard Time. And Matt's going to steer you through the call with the newbie of the team, and Andrew as well. So looking forward to seeing how all that goes, Matt.
Definitely looking forward to Andrew, the rookie to the commentary booth for the GOC. It'll be good to have him on board. So the apprentice, my young Padawan, as I'm going to be start calling him, he's just going to sit tight on the back there and sort of bring in the technical side of the commentary for me tomorrow night. Just to get a voice in and just get in tune a little bit and start to come out of the shell and like we do over here at the NTS and when we commentate the GSC as well. So it's going to be good to see him there, but predominantly tomorrow night, I'm definitely going to need a voice. I say it every week, Stretchels, you have to sponsor Zach and myself because we yell too much. And by the time we end our night, we've got a blistering sore throat.
Like
but why would we do that? A calm farm's a boring farm, Chris.
Exactly. we need a couple of hype people in the team, Kisby, because then that's supports or works well with people like yourself who are a little bit calmer in your delivery. They complement each other, the two different styles.
Yeah, ask me that while I'm in the car.
Exactly. Yeah. Sam Katagazinas there in 18th position at the moment, all over the back of Lindsay Hobbs in the battle for 17th. And Hobbs has moved up 7 positions from where he started. Katagazinas 12th. Blake Urquhart, a big mover, up 15 spots from 16th, into 16th rather, from 31st on the grid. 15 of 58 here, side by side, further back in the pack. Daniel Schultz getting muscled out there as well. So he drops down into position 27 behind Steve Vella and just ahead of David Kirby. But I'm looking forward to this, boys. Stay with us, Matty, if you can, for a couple more minutes here. Because the first round of pit stops is upon us, and that is going to be bedlam. There's no doubt about that. Oh, off to the outside. Car off to the outside. It's another car limping very, very slowly coming onto the main straight there.
It was that Ice Racing photography
Alex
replay.
Court in the pit lane as well, boys. Alex Court in the pit lane. We'll find out who it was off track in a moment. Bella has had a moment at turn 1. But I'm not sure who that was sitting to the outside of the circuit and whether it's going to trigger a safety car or not. We suspect it might have been Simon Bella making his way back to the pit lane after that spin that you just saw there. So Rainer Costello remains second. Sam Katagazinas on your screen there in 17th. Jones, the leader from Costello. Court's jumped early. He's gone into the pit lane. He's come back out in 19th place. He pitted on lap 15, 21.22 seconds. I suspect, without knowing for certain, I suspect everyone will be trying to get the first half of the race out of this set of tyres. So I'm suspecting that we'll get fuel, not tyres, first time round here, because if you get tyres now, you've got to try and get 43 laps out of them, and that's easier said than done.
Well, hot track temps as well, Zach and Chris. That is definitely going to play a part into it. The cars don't want to grip up on a hot track. They tend to slide. The tyres then start to degrade very, very quickly after that. We'll watch what Cam Jones does right now. He comes right out wide. We'll see if he does the cheeky dive. No, they're staying it. So they've obviously saved enough fuel to go for one more lap. So they've done a bit of fuel saving. Lap times are down by a couple seconds for qualifying pace. McNamara, though, into the pits. First of the leaders to come into the pits here. As I was saying, the track being hot, it is going to cool off in the afternoon, but it could also heat up depending on what the air temp is doing.
There's Sean McNamara in the lane. Scott McCune there as well. And interesting that we were talking about that fuel saving mission, that you had to save a third of a lap across the course of 17 to get 17 laps out of your first stint. It looks like everyone in the top 13 or 14 have been able to do that.
22.6 seconds stop by McNamara, so he's full to the brim. Tyres obviously get done within that stop as well, ladies and gentlemen. So that is one that we won't be able to know if he's taken tyres or not.
We'll wait and see how the rest of this plays out. A long way to go here, folks. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in around Australia. Last time by the line was 25 minutes and 28 seconds worth of racing. So it goes to show that we're in for the long haul tonight. No doubt about that. More than an hour still to come here from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Now, is this the lap in which they rush towards pit lane? Yes, it is. Here we go. Jones Costello, Leonard, Hill, all in. Morris will follow them. Veacock, I suspect, will come in as well. No, yes, he will. Yes, he will.
I expect to see pit lane light up here. The whole pit lane's going to light up. No one's taken a stop other than Cooper Court, McNamara, Chadwick Davis, Crossingham, Wade Michael, Benny Siren.
The top 12 are all in the line. Rainer Costello's cost himself a bit of time there because he missed his box by the narrowest of margins, had to back up. That's going to cost him some track position here. Who wins the race off pit lane? It's Jones. Leonage follows quickly.
Didn't lose too much time though, Costello. Not too much time was lost there to Leonage. He only Costello only had an extra.
Watch this.
Not even.
Watch this. Alex Court charging up on the outside at full speed. He's in second at the moment. Can he go to the lead? No, he can't. So the undercut doesn't quite work for him, but he does gain 2 spots out of it because he's pipped Costello, he's pipped Leonage, and McNamara's pipped them both as well. So a little bit of a game changer at the front of the field.
McNamara's got a little bit older tyres though, so tipping that he changed tyres. So this is all going to be interesting.
Indeed it is. Hey, Jones, 25.3 seconds on the lane. Costello, 24.5. Hill, 23.6. Gets up into 5th. Leonage has dropped to 6th, 23.5. A stop for him. So it has all changed at the pointy end of town. Costello, the big loser in all of that. So too Leonage, McNamara, Court, Hill, all winners in that pit stop cycle. And now we have got through that first round of pit stops. And the guys that pitted early, so Chadwick Davis, they're sitting 8th and 9th. Veacock is 10th. Crossingham pitted early too. He's 11th. So they're on a different strategy. So we need to keep an eye on their progress throughout the course of the evening because we know they're going to have to run longer stints at the back end of the race. Whereas these guys that have pitted first up here on lap 17 or in Court's case lap 15, they're going to run a shorter stint later in the race because they've run the longer one off the top. 19 of 58. And that's how close it is between the top 6. Yep. Nice move there on the inside. McNamara and Hill and Leonage, I should say, arguing over the same piece of real estate. Costello gets by McNamara, goes into 3rd. Here's Hill defending for his life down the inside. He's got Ben Morris for company too. Ben Morris down on the inside of Leonage, can't get it done. Now he does because they're both wide on the exit. Hill and Leonage, and Morris capitalises and gets by Leonage. Leonage back to 7th. Now we've got a drive-through penalty rather for I think it was the 64, was it not? Of Daniel Schultz. Was that correct, what I just saw on the screen there? 64, Daniel Schultz. Drive-through penalty. So 19 of 58, and Daniel Schultz sits there in 30th position. Continues on at the moment. You can see some damage on that car. Noticeable damage as well, Matt Davis.
Yes, definitely. The bonnet's missing. He's losing a lot of front aero on that car. Obviously, no bonnet, damaged splitter. They tend to wash off roughly about 20k an hour down the straights and lose just a little bit of power. So that'll be hurting him to make up some spots later on, or as we progress down through the race now, as we go around for lap 19 of 58. So almost getting halfway as we click over to lap 20 there now. That's definitely going to be hurting him. He's still got a long way to go. Another 38, 39 laps there. So it's Morris up the inside of the hill in the turn one. Textbook move. One of the best overtaking opportunities at Interlagos is into turn one. So obviously a lot of guys capitalising on that overtaking move.
I've just had mail come through that Alex Court is racing with injured wrists. Probably too much flag waving at Simmons Plains over the weekend. I'm not sure.
I'm guessing so.
But injured wrists for Alex Court. So we're not quite sure how he's going to fare at the back end of this, whether he's going to be able to maintain his momentum and run all the way to the checkered flag. We'll wait and see. If there's anyone in the paddock praying for a safety car tonight, it'll be Alex Court, just so that he can give the wrists a little bit of a break.
McNamara all over the back of Costello.
And looking dangerous as well, Chris Kisby.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is, look, I don't want to oversell it, but I love Interlagos for so many reasons. It's always worth getting up, setting the early alarm when Formula One races here at the back end of the year, because it is one of those circuits, and there aren't too many of them left when you look at some of the circuits that are being designed, modernly speaking. You look at the new one in America that's coming up, Miami. You look at a few others that have been designed in recent times. They're looking at a new one in Brazil as well. You look at the new configuration of Hockenheim that we ran last week. There are circuits that have character, and there are circuits that don't. Interlagos is one of the last ones with true character because it's got such great undulation. It's got overtaking opportunities. It's got fast sweeping corners and slow, tight corners. This is a circuit that has something for everyone. Rainer Costello under the pump at the moment. Ben Morris, fastest lap of the race, 134.28 as well. And here he comes on a charge again, trying to get by McNamara. Morris to the inside. No, not yet. So
Costello's a second off the pace that last lap as well.
Now watch this. McNamara wide, Morris up the inside. Morris to fourth. Benny Morris to fourth. What about that for charge? Now, again, you speculate. Has he taken tyres early as a gamble here for track position for later in the race? And will that come back to hurt him later in the race? We shall wait and see. But what do you boys reckon about, I mean, this circuit, it's one of my personal favourites. Where does it stack as far as you two are concerned?
For me, yep. Yeah, no, I think I stated it earlier. It's one of my favourite tracks because of the flowiness of it. And look at Morris over the back of Rayner. He has to have had tyres going through there. You see Rainer Costello starting to slide around a little bit there as he comes through. He's being a bit more careful as he hits the corners onto the approach, into the apex. A little bit more careful putting the power down as he comes up the hill with Benny Morris right on his tail. You're going to look at Benny Morris coming around this corner here, down the straight, and then out-braking him into turn one. Let's see whether he can do it. He's in the position to... Come on, Rainer, just let him go. Catch him later. That's the way. And called it. Look at that.
Very nicely done from Ben Morris.
Move.
Yeah, and not for the first time tonight. He's used turn one to his advantage tonight. If it hasn't been turn one, it's been turn four. And Morris going along beautifully at the moment. Good work also from that young man on screen, Matthew Hill in sixth. He's right there with them at the moment, holding his own in the Excalibur Esports entry. The number 23 in sixth position in his series debut. 22 of 58. Commodore's dominating the top end of town at the moment. But that one Mustang. Oh, magnificent move on the inside from Hill.
Whoa!
Not quite able to get it done on
He's sticking around on
McNamara.
the outside.
McNamara
He's
holds
sticking around the
on. They go
outside.
side by side. What about that? And Hill's going to get the job done on the run up to what is turn 8.
Oh, he's
11, I
blinking
should say. Nicely done. He is blinking a fair bit. Hopefully that's not an issue that will terminate his race here, but he has managed to get through on the inside of McNamara and go up into position number 5. That was through, of course, turn 11 and 12, not 8 and 9. My apologies, but they were side by side through 8, 9 on the run up to 11 through 10 as well. Really good driving, textbook stuff from the pair of them. And Hill is the beneficiary of all of that. Costello's sitting 4th at the moment, flying the flag for the Fords, but the Holdens, they're back in town tonight.
I feel sorry for McNamara on that, because in that position where you're blinking, he's got no choice but to back off because he doesn't know where Hill's going to come blink back in. So it does create a bit of a problem when you're driving and you're trying to anticipate where the other driver's going to come back in. Now, if he brakes and you haven't seen him brake, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly
Dean
right.
Powell locking up into turn 1, allowing Chris Barnes to come back up on the rear bumper. And who's just behind them? I'm trying to find him on the list. Dawson getting in on the action as well. Drag race down the straight. Barnes gets the jobs done. Round Dean Powell does. Dean Powell hold? Yes. Oh, Hill all over the back of Costello. Costello lets him go through. Costello over and under.
He sort of has to because he's blinking all over the place.
Yeah, and it's really it's going to be disruptive and distracting, I guess, to the guys behind him to have that unfolding. I don't know what the internet's like in Maitland at the best of times, but let's hope it improves for Matty Hill's sake throughout the course of the rest of this race here. He sits 4th at the moment. Ben Morris just ahead of him. Alex Court up the road as well. But it's Hill holding the pack up here. Costello and McNamara.
41.99
through here.
41 ping, 99 quality. So he's not there. So I don't know what the problem is with the ping, with the steering. So he's up there with everybody else. So it shouldn't cause him too much of a problem. But good on the lad.
Might be something on our end.
Could be. I was going to say it might be.
Yeah.
It's my understanding also, Matt Davis, and you can speak more on this. Yeah, something has definitely happened to Matt Hill now. He's dropped out completely, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah, 615, 618. Ping.
Yeah, that's this.
And
He's still there. He's still there.
Yeah.
But it's not going to last long because
Race
this is one of the
control's
things.
have to say something here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's my understanding, as per series regulations, that race control might have to step in here, Matt.
Yes, no, race control. There is a rule in the rulebook with regards to ping. Other drivers can report it, and race control can notify that driver of fixing the internet connection. As Morris has a look. No, sorry, wrong car. I thought Morris was having a look up the inside of court for a second. Wrong car. That was the Dragon RC. Brandon Costello, though, is around Matt Hill. McNamara now all over the back of Hill there. But no, race control will contact Matt Hill and just give him a little bit of warning saying, hey, your internet's dropping in and out. You may not be aware of it, but everyone else around you is.
Yeah,
so
well, you don't.
do something to fix it.
When you're driving along, you're just sitting there driving, and as a race controller, and you guys know that I did a fair bit of race control. As soon as I saw a car blinking, I kept on it. I privately messaged, say, be aware that you're blinking, causing other drivers can't see you. As soon as their ping went up, I gave them 2 or 3 laps to fix the problem. Otherwise, I would mechanically black flag them because it's not fair on the others.
It doesn't make it easy for the drivers if they're getting a warning from race control to fix their. It's very hard to fix things on the go when you're trying to keep your race position, Matt.
It is.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But when you get to the point of,
wow.
Here we go, around the corner.
Great move there on the inside. Scott McCune on the inside of Robert Crisdale. And job done there. McCune up into 12th and Crisdale back to 13th. Sorry, you go, Chris.
Yeah, so for race control to actually intervene like that, generally you'll find the drivers will pull into the pits, either do a reboot, because for race control to intervene means that there's something wrong. And they're generally, you don't intervene until it gets 900, over 1,000. So that's when I say, hey, mate, you've got to sit there and try and fix it. Otherwise, we're going to have to black flag you.
Indeed, that is the case. There's Jim Delios going off the circuit. Hey, we've almost reached halfway, boys. No safety cars as yet. The boys have been fairly reasonably well behaved tonight, which is really good to see. However, there will be a couple of these guys crying for a safety car, I would say. With the tyres bleeding, with wrists being sore, and a few internet issues, and a few other things as well that we wouldn't normally deal with too much in a 150-kilometre race, but they're starting to become issues in the 250-kilometre. And, of course, we can't forget later in the year, we've got a 1,000-kilometre to deal with as well. Through they come one more time. Chadwick, Veacock, and then, of course, crossing and behind them. So the top 7 have gapped this pack. Jones, Court, Morris. Then you go back, a long gap back to Rainer Costello, Matt Hill, Sean McNamara, and Lassif Leonage. Now, hopefully, the sign that Matt Hill's still sitting there in 5th place is a sign that, or is confirmation that his internet problems have started to ease.
All green on his ping and quality.
Oh, Cameron Veacock has a big lunge up on the inside. Almost not enough room to try and pull that manoeuvre off, and he tucks back in. Chadwick, the next one inside here. Chadwick went a little bit wide, gathered it up, keeps Veacock at bay, but Chadwick's got his work cut out for him to keep Veacock at bay for much longer, and he plays defensive now, going into turn 11. Out of 11 they go. That balked Veacock a little bit. Through 12 and around they go. Oh, how good's this racing been so far? As they say, not quite half race distance, and it's the same sort of intensity that we'd expect any other week of the year. A great little tussle here between Chadwick and Veacock as they come back around onto the main straight one more time. McNamara in the lane.
How to make a V8 supercar 3 cars wide.
Chadwick into the lane.
And Chadwick goes in as well. Crossingham goes in too. Hey, Matty Davis, we're almost at half race distance, but we're going to let you go because you've got a big night ahead of you tomorrow night. Good luck with the call because it's 200 kilometres for the Goodyear Auto Cabrera V8 T2E series right here on SimShed Broadcasting, 7:50 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Cannot wait for that. But you need to rest up the vocal cords after what's been a busy night here so far. We appreciate you stepping in for the hot lap, joining Chris and I for the first half of the race, and obviously enjoy the call tomorrow night, mate.
No, thank you very much, boys. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen at home, for listening to the amazing voice. I'll see you all tomorrow night for the Goodyear Auto Cabrera V8 T2E series. And as you said, 200 kilometres around the magnificent Interlagos. So it's going to be a big one to call with me, the young pad one, Andrew, alongside me. But I look forward to coming back next week, ripping out another, not flying hot lap, but maybe a nice sideways hot lap for you people watching at home. So we'll see how we go.
Exactly. A couple of big weeks coming up because Enduro this week, Triple Crown next week, Super Sprint the week after. It's a big time, busy time of the championship. No doubt about that. Good on you, Matt. Thank you. And of course, thanks Wake Cartel for their ongoing support of this series as well. In this particular round of the series, it's Wake Cartel Interlagos 250. And I have to say, as soon as he said it was about water sports and equipment and all that sort of stuff, I thought, I've got to get me a piece of that because it's been a long, long time, Chris Kisby, since I've been towed on a boat on either a kneeboard or in a biscuit or something like that. Got to try and do something of that regard over the course of the summer, no doubt about that.
It is. Matthew Hill's just
that being said, yeah, he certainly has. You're right. Matthew Hill into 4th position. So Costello, Leonage, Veacock, the next one's through there. That's not the battle we're watching, though, at the moment, is it? Just having a look here. Sam Katakazinas and Lindsay Hobbs is what we're watching at the moment. Katakazinas comes into the lane. Hobbs continues on. Now, big thanks to Matty Davis for joining us. But I was going to say, Kisby, the only disadvantage of getting back behind the boat these days is the body's not as nimble as what it was 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, come on.
You don't bounce back the way you used to. So we'll wait and see. 29 to 58.
40, not 30.
Yeah, true. Hey, 28 laps in the book next time by the line for Cameron Jones, he's led most of the way thus far. He's done a superb job. He leads by 2.09 seconds from Ben Morris, Alex Court, Matt Hill, and Rainer Costello, the top 5. This is the lap coming up, starting now, that'll get us to halfway. But before that, is there a sting in the tail? Are there any more pit stops waiting to happen on this last lap of the opening half of the contest? Lap 29 of 58, 29 down at the end of this one, 29 to go. Lassif Leonage in the lane. Laz Leonage comes in at the lap before half race distance. Second stop for Leonage. And that's interesting too, Kisby, because with 30 laps to go as he pits, he can break it up into 2 15-lap stints, or he's got a little bit of ability to be flexible with that, maybe a 10 or 17 or a...
He has, and if you look at Rainer, he has to, he will have to go into next lap because it stays out for too long. No doubt Lassith will get new tyres and he will be screaming through the pack.
He will be. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series here on Simshed Broadcasting. The first of our 2 Enduros this season. Of course, the second one coming up in 7 weeks' time. Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst, New South Wales. And that will be 250 kilometres, 41 laps of madness as well.
I was about to say there, Zach, if you're talking about your body's good at 30s, I mean, you got your trendy 20s, you got your dirty 30s, which you're in now, you got your naughty 40s, and then your thrifty 50s. So, and then, as my dad said, then you got the sexy 60s.
And then the sizzling 70s and the...
they keep going and going and going.
I'm just trying to think of a word for the 80s and 90s, but nothing's coming to me at the moment. Rainer Costello comes into the lane. Nicely picked, Chris Kisby. Rainer's in the lane at the end of lap 29.
Matthew Hill's gone through around again.
And again, that's exactly what we're talking about, mate, because that halves it on tyres. I'm expecting a lot of the guys to take the tyres now. Yeah,
this last stint, get the tyres on. So Rainer needs a good pit stop here and get out on the fresh tyres ahead of Lassith again and then start chasing down Cameron.
So lap 30 of 58. We're past half race distance. Laz Leonage on the undercut. Can he make that work for him? Here he is, the number 1.
Rainer's coming out now.
Rainer Costello out onto the track. So yes, the undercut has worked for Lassif Leonage in terms of Rainer Costello. So much to play out in this race. If we get a safety car late in the piece, that throws a spanner in the works. And the critical number here, Kisby, is the end of lap 41. You get to the end of lap 41, you've got 17 laps to go. We've seen these guys get 17 laps to a stint. So any time between now and lap 41, you get a safety car lap 39, 40, everyone's going to be playing a fuel save game.
Oh, yeah.
So Jones, Morris, Court, Hill, McCune, the top 5 at the moment. We're still waiting for the top 8 to pit the second time. McNamara, the first of those that stopped twice. He pitted on lap 26. He's 9th at the moment. Leonage, the second of those that's pitted twice, in 11th. Davis and Costello, 13th and 14th, have also pitted twice, but they're all on very different strategies in terms of what lap they've come into the pit lane. A lot to play out here over the next 28 laps.
I just love trying to work out their strategy, Zach.
I've stopped trying.
For me as a driver, and of course I know you don't drive, but for me as a driver, I like to try and work out and sit back and analyse. Why did they do that when at that particular point in time? And I think that allowed me the ability to pick when Rainer was going to pit there, because before Lassith go in and couldn't afford to. So I'm now starting to think of those things in my own driving, because I'm seeing these real good drivers do it, and the reasons for it. So it's slowly, season by season, ticking together.
Yeah, it certainly is.
They say you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Well, yes, you can.
You can. It just depends on the dog.
And I'm a good dog.
Yeah, exactly. Jones, Morris, Court, Hill, McCune, the top five. Hey, just while I think of it too, folks, we mentioned tomorrow night, obviously, for SimShed Broadcasting, but join us on Saturday night as well. In a rare primetime exclusive on Anzac Eve, we've got the Anzac Cup coming your way as part of the Weekend Warriors NASCAR series from where else but the Talladega Super Speedway. Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby,
Talladega
you
night.
name it. We cannot wait. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, Saturday night.
Ooh,
A full pre-race
in round.
Anzac ceremony, 101 or so laps the race as well. They say it's 500 kilometres, so
I
if it's
don't
500
envy you on
kilometres,
that one.
it needs to be more than 180. It needs to be more than 101 laps. But anyway, I'm not going to get into the mathematics of it just now. Saturday night, 7:30. Be there, as Mike Raymond used to say.
Be there or be square.
SimShed Broadcasting. Now we've got Veacock in the lane. We've got Court on his way out. We've got Urquhart in the lane. Jones, Morris, Hill, McCune, Crisdale continue on. And they are, well, McCune's on the precipice of needing to stop because he stopped on lap 16. Everyone else that got 17 out of their first stint, they've got a couple of laps up their sleeve here. So it's an interesting strategy game that's about to play out. But there is Lassif Leonage screaming around the outside of Alex Court. So he's back in front of his teammate now. And into eighth position.
Saturday, Zach. What do you
Yes,
got planned for this Saturday morning? What's programming for Saturday morning?
Well, Saturday morning will be the usual stuff on West Bramble Radio between 9 and 12, and looking forward to talking all things local sport on what is a big weekend. Here's Cameron Jones, the race leader in the lane. I'll come back to that, Kisby. Don't forget to remind me. Ben Morris continues on, but Cameron Jones is in the lane at the end of lap 32, so he went a shorter second stint than his first stint. 17 and 15, his two stints thus far. This will no doubt be a tyre stop for him.
Right, so Cameron's stopped now. Rayner's just coming around the second last corner, coming up the hill.
So Hill continues on in second. Morris is the leader. I'm expecting those two win next time by. McCune somehow getting 17 laps out of this stint as well, so he's continued on.
Here comes Rayner.
Jones on his way out. Back out onto the circuit. Almost wide into the wall on the exit. Crisdale fourth. Jones fifth. McNamara. Angus. Now, can Jones pip McNamara? No, he can't. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. McNamara's going to have to settle for the outside on the run down to turn 4. Position number 6. And Jones holds fifth. Nice job indeed. So Jones is the effective race leader. Critical this outlap. You're absolutely right. Now, interesting to note that the teammates have swapped positions here. Alex Court and Lassif Leonage. That was the replay of Jones going through on the inside. And then there's Court getting away around Lassif Leonage. Yep, up the inside. Nicely done. Leonage tucks back into 9th position for the moment. However, here's the thing, Kisby. Those two don't necessarily need to win tonight. Court needs to do better than Leonage in terms of the championship.
Yep.
But Leonage, I mean, a 9th isn't the end of the world for him, given how his season's gone thus far. And Matthew Hill into the lane now. Ben Morris, Scott McCune. They look to be continuing. No, McCune's in. McCune is in, but Morris continues on. So Morris and Crisdale are the two. Morris and Crisdale are the two that are going to get 17 laps out of their second stint, just as they did their first. So Morris and Crisdale are playing a long game here. Jones, McNamara, Court, Leonage. They've all come through, so they've displaced Hill and McCune here, and also Michael Angus has dropped down the order. Rainer Costello back to 8th at the moment. Next target, Chris Barnes. Oh, it's all happening out there.
It is.
Take a look around, folks. There's plenty to see.
Don't blink.
No, you'll miss it. Rainer Costello down the inside of Barnes, and job done to 7th. Costello continues his charge through. Morris and Crisdale, the only two that haven't stopped a second time as yet. They should do that this time around. It is lap 34. Surely they can't eke 18 laps out of a stint. Morris should come to pit lane this time by. And does. Morris is in. The race leader pits. Chris Dale's a long way back. So he will drop down the order significantly, considering he's only marginally ahead of Jones, McNamara, and Court as we speak. But it's been a great second stint from him all the same.
I was just thinking about it there, Zach. I mean, Alex Court making friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
He might be trying to convert me to Holden. Not a chance and not a hope in hell.
Not a chance in hell. No. Barnes on lap 17. He's due to pit, and also Newell is due to pit as well. So Craig Newell's managed to get 18 laps out of this stint if he can get it back to the pit lane. That's an extraordinary run from Craig Newell, sitting down there in 13th at the moment. And Morris back out onto the racetrack now. Oh, no! Can you believe that? He's locked it up, and he's thrown it towards the wall on the exit of the pit lane, and that is costly. He'd had such a good run up until then. Wow. Ben Morris.
Cold tires.
You've got to be kidding me.
Do it to you every time. Look at him getting sliding.
He's all over the shop. Hopefully he hasn't damaged the car in the midst of all of that. I don't think he... no, I think he kept it off the wall. I don't think he got anything, which is a good thing, but he's cost himself 5 or 10 seconds.
How critical these outlaps are with the cold tyres. Really got to feather that throttle and go as fast as you can without overthrowing it and losing the grip with those cold tyres.
Exactly. Chris Barnes, Tim Mulford, Craig Newell have recently visited the lane as well. But I was impressed with Scott McCune getting 18 laps out of the stint. No one else has done that tonight. That was very well done. Frustrating night at the office for David Kirby, stuck down there in 30th at the moment. But on screen here, we've got Lindsay Hobbs in 22nd. And Darren Caldwell is ahead of him. He's got Brian Cooper right behind him as well. So lap 35 of 58 is now a good time to just take a breather, everybody. I think it might be. Let's find someone to go for a hot lap with. Let's go with our race leader, Cameron Jones. Let's crank up the volume and enjoy the V8 hard at work around Interlagos and the Wake Cartel 250, the first of the Enduros of the NTS Super Series. The V8's hard at work around the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. How good's Cameron Jones going at the moment? Leads this race by just on a second from Sean McNamara. Alex Court third. Ben Leonage, Costello, Davis, Hill, and Morris at the moment. Matthew Hill just punched out his PB in the race that last time around, 134.82. So he's going along quite nicely. Fastest lap of the race, I think you'll find, is Rainer Costello, 134.29. Oh, actually, no, Benny Morris, 134.28, I should say. So it's been, hard fought at the front. And just as I say that, Robert Crisdale, 134.19, new fastest lap of the race. So Crisdale's on a charge on fresh rubber. 137, 134.19. Morris, 136.14 last time round on the back of that misdemeanor on the exit of the pit area. But I'm thinking that he might have gambled with tyres early, and that might have been a mistake, Chris Kisby.
Yes, it might have. We say it time in, time out. Choice of when you're going to take the tyres Oh, what do we got there?
Crossing him off the circuit momentarily. That allows Veacock
Yep.
through into 10th.
These only getting one set throughout the race, crucial side, and you've really got to look after your tyres in the early parts of the race so that you have that fresh set to come home with. So if you put yourself into a decent position, stay on the lead lap, don't get too far behind, then once you've got the new tyres on, you can rip it all the way home. Rip it good.
Yeah, exactly. So Cameron Jones, Sean McNamara, Alex Court, the top three at the moment. Leonage and Costello make up the top five. You're watching Darren Caldwell. They're all over the back of Sam Katakazinas. At this point in time, NTS V8 Super Series, of course, continues next week, ladies and gentlemen. We stay in the Americas, but we go back to North America. Charlotte Roval next week. Cannot wait for that. Round 11 of the championship. And a night race as well, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be the first night race of the championship, and we'll bring that to you live, 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time next Tuesday night. Here's Caldwell down the inside of Katakazinas to 20th. That's very nicely done on the inside. Can he get it done? Can he hold it? Yes, he can. A little bit crossed up coming through too, but he's done enough to get the job done. So well done. Might play the defensive card here on the run down to turn 4, but he's okay for the moment.
I was just thinking, I don't know why it popped into my head there, Zach, but I was just thinking there, Zach, you'd love to see a Mr. Wallace here to actually desecrate all these drivers like they do over the GSRC.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it earlier that he was in there, and I think Matthew, he actually commented on how Wallace was going through the corners, fuel saving, coasting, but still keeping speed up. Well, as we commented on last night, one pit stop at Hockenheim, the only driver to do one pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. There's a distinct difference between the highest caliber sim races in the country and yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't. Just it's not nothing against drivers here.
Pros. Nothing against anybody, but
yeah.
I mean, when it's your craft and when you're the best.
It is.
You're an elite company. Have a look at this up on the outside. Katakazinas on Caldwell. Not able to get it done. Not able to get it done. They're all over the place at the moment. They're really battling. 20 laps to go. Katakazinas to the inside to get 20th.
And
yes. No.
Side by side.
Side by side through 4. Katakazinas gets it.
Job done.
On the run into 5. Nicely done as well. Caldwell looks to respond.
Hang on.
Caldwell looks to respond. Caldwell responds. Going through into turn 6.
Nice.
And have a look at Lindsay Hobson closing in on the back of that as well. He's going to have a bird's eye view if they keep jockeying here. There's lap traffic in between them as well. Oh, it's an all-out duke out at the moment for the minor placings.
Gloves are off.
Are they? What? How good's this? 19 to go. Jones, McNamara, caught at the front of the field. Third round of pit stops upon some of these drivers. They'll be getting towards that window. When we get to 17 to go, that is the critical number. The end of lap 41. We're on lap 40 at the moment. These guys are on the end of lap 39. How good's the opening round of the Enduro's been, hey? More of this, please, in 7 weeks. We've got some sprints and some triple crowns and some super sprints to get to before that. So looking forward
I think we'll need more than strips, mate. I think we'll need the old rum and honey.
Well, I was going to say definitely the honey. The rum's a bit too strong for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work well with whiskey. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how my mum drank rum, but
yeah,
I could never take to it.
No.
But funnily enough, my boys did, and I did. I prefer my whiskey.
Exactly. I'll be with you there every day of the week, mate. At the moment, I'm just thinking, this is the coffee hit that I needed tonight without the coffee, so it's been good. I haven't had to have the
Shameless
coffee.
plug for Tasmania, as I always do. This
Exactly.
great boutique whiskey distillery down there, Hellier's Distillery up in the north, and it's dotted all over the state down there. So come and visit down in Tasmania, and we'll lock you in so that no COVID can get you outside.
Oh, come on, Kisby. Don't go political on me. It's too early in the night. Matthew Hill sitting there in 7th at the moment. Whatever the problems were with him earlier with dropout in that peak and so forth, they look to have stabled and sorted themselves out, which is really good to see. Hill sits there at the moment all over the back of Ash Davis. This is the battle for 6th.
He must have yelled at Telstra or Optus.
And just up the road is Rainer Costello. So, I mean, again, I say it all the time, a safety car would really spice things up, particularly right now. But have a look at this. Sam Katakazinis and Caldwell still side by side. It's been an ongoing tussle. Katakazinis to the outside, Caldwell the inside. Caldwell has the line.
Oh, don't do that.
And he's wide, but he gathers it up, and here comes Katakazinis around the outside, and Lindsay Hobbs is right there as well. Does Hobbs fancy a chance of going 3 wide? Yes, he does! 3 wide, and Hobbs was even on the grass! If you don't mind, but he gathers it up. No one harmed in the making of that moment as they make their way through. Oh, the grass needed a little bit of a mow anyway. That's good.
Yeah.
Nothing like a little bit of whippersnipping on a Tuesday night. Katakazinis, Hobbs on his outside. Hobbs right around the outside. Still on the outside, but now has to yield.
Those rears are only just gripping. Goes round there.
Now he gives him a little bit of a tap for good measure. And look who's there as well. Brian Cooper's right on the back of them, so it's a 4-car fight all of a sudden.
Inside.
And Caldwell's been able to skip clear, 2-3 car lengths. Oh, it's all happening here in Interlagos tonight. Sao Paulo delivering the goods in Brazil. The only South American circuit on iRacing, and it's delivering some cracking racing tonight. There's no doubt about that. Right, back to the front. Alex Court all over the back of Sean McNamara. This is the battle for 2nd. And Cameron Jones is only 2.5 seconds up the road. Lassif Leonage is 4th. Rainer Costello is 5th. Matthew Hill is 6th. But the battle for 2nd is brewing.
Rainer's put the pedal down. He's starting to pull it, bring these guys in now.
He'll bring them in if they keep jockeying. If they start tussling and dicing, he'll reel it in.
I've just been watching Rainer for the last 5 minutes, and he's really reined Lassif in, and he's got him. He had him just in sights earlier. Now he's really got him in sight.
No puns intended, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Whoa, McNamara in the lane. He sold the dummy to Court, and he went in.
Rainer's in.
Court almost threw himself in the wall trying to get the toe from McNamara. Then Court goes on for another lap. McNamara, Costello, and Ash Davis all on the pit road. 43 of 58.
So I think
big opportunity here for Alex Court to capitalise.
Yeah, he's a very short stop. It's something Nick's always said. Yeah, what you're aiming for when you're racing, be the first
to pit last.
To pit last, yeah. And it looks like McNamara and Rainer have tried to get that in.
Costello's moving again. He gets back out onto the racetrack. Goes along nicely. Oh, wow.
Fight to the end now.
Hold your breath, Australia. This isn't over yet. Jones, Court, Leonage, Hill, Morris, the top 5. But that final round of pit stops has started. Been a disappointing night for Cameron Veacock, but it's been a great night for Cameron Jones. He's pretty well led all the way, with the exception of a few laps there from Rainer in the middle.
So now that explains why Stello was putting in the extra, because he was looking at in-laps. So he was trying to shorten the gap because he knew he was going to go into the pits. So that's how you do it. Thanks, Rainer.
Jones continues on as the race leader. That is now 15 laps to go. We are in the fuel window. Anywhere between now and about lap 49, 50 is when these drivers will pit the fuel up and get themselves to the end. How it balances out on the timesheets remains to be seen. Barnes there in 17th, following Davis in 16th, but Davis has completed his third stop. Barnes has not. 44 of 58 from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Don't forget, stick around post-race, folks. We're going to interview the drivers that feature in the top three here. Drive-through penalty. Wow. The 666 is coming to the lane for a drive-through penalty. That's David Leslie for impeding under blue flag orders.
Ooh.
Race control don't view that too favourably. He's being whacked across the knuckles for it.
And so he should too.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
I mean,
Fair
you give them
penalty.
enough leeway. Yeah, if you're in race control, you give them enough leeway. You know they're not going to try and let them pass around a corner or something like that. But as soon as you get to a straight, that's and even if you get to the end of the straight, just all you got to do is back off just that little bit earlier, and it allows the car to go through.
Certainly does. Hope you're enjoying our coverage wherever you're tuning in around Australia or New Zealand tonight or anywhere else around the world as well. SimShow broadcasting in our coverage of the NTS V8 Super Series. Laszlo Leonage has completed his third stop. He did so on lap 43, so he's back out there in the race to the checkered flag now. Court and Hill are in. Court and Hill are in. Jones continues on, but Court and Hill are in. Critical stop here too, Kisby, because
It is.
it's the lesser of two evils. You've got to weigh up all the pros and cons here. Do you want to get stuck in traffic, or do you want to fight for clear air and track position? And at the moment, Jones is going for track position. The gamble for Court and Hill is they could get caught in traffic here when they come back out into the race.
You got Rayner coming through. There's Hill. Rayner's going to get Hill. Should do. Yes. No.
Court sits fourth at the moment.
Here we go. I think that's Hill there, isn't it? 23.
Yep.
So Rayner's got in front of Hill.
Top 22 remain on the lead lap as well, Kisby. So that's important to note.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Cameron Jones, Ben Morris, and Robert Crisdale, Alex Court, and Scott McCune, the top five here. Laszlo Leonage, Sean McNamara, Rainer Costello, then Matthew Hill and Michael Angus. But I've got, I'm waiting for word to come through regarding a penalty that might be heading the way of one of our drivers, but I've only just heard about that, but I'll wait for official confirmation. Laszlo Leonage around the outside there in fifth position, holding off Scott McCune. And Sean McNamara is in there as well. McCune's lights ablaze at the moment, trying to get by Leonage, but now Leonage skips clear. So Leonage is gone. McNamara goes with him. They team up and they both get McCune. Nicely done. Okay. Now, this will be in the rule book as well, and it'll be something that we'll have to have a look at after the race as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, go steady, Rayner. Go steady. Take your time to get around him.
As good as this run from Matthew Hill has been, the guy in 8th position there on your screen, according to the series regulations, he's registered with his number 99, and he's racing number 23. And that will result in him, unfortunately, popping a black flag and a disqualification in this race because he's run with the wrong race number. If it's in the rules, I can't argue with that. But
no, you can't argue.
It's a very harsh penalty to pay.
It is,
isn't it? I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
There might be some mitigating circumstances there, but watch that space. We'll update you post-race, folks. But yeah, the word that we're getting is that because Hill is registered with number 99 and is running number 23, he might be wearing the brunt of a disqualification penalty from the stewards a little bit later on. But we'll wait and see. He's had a terrific run. It'd be very disappointing to see it come unstuck in that very small sort of way. But rules are rules at the end of the day.
This is his first race, isn't it?
With this season, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, for a debut, he's doing absolutely brilliant.
Been superb. Lap 47 to 58. Jones, Morris, Court, Leonage, McNamara are the top 5. And starting to sort itself out now. Jones and Morris yet to stop on this third and final occasion. But they are that far ahead of the competition that no one looks likely to threaten them at this point. The battle will be for the minor placings. And Court seems to have that under control at the moment. Leonage is 4th. McNamara is 5th. Then Costello, Hill, McCune, Angus. Now, the gap Morris to the, from Jones to the rest of the pack is 20-odd seconds. Then from Morris back to Court, it's 16 seconds. So I'm not too worried about Jones. It's more where Morris is going to feed back into this when he comes out of his pit stop. Yeah.
I mean, he's done really well. I mean, Jones has done really well up the inside of McNamara.
So Costello, McNamara,
Hill comes in,
and
yeah,
Hill as well.
The loser out of
nice
that.
bit of driving from Matty Hill. So Rayner's the loser in all of that, but he's back up on the inside of Hill now and got him done. Oh, very nicely done. Going down the hill, a bit of argy-bargy, hip and shoulder. Why not? Why not? That's all fair in love and war. Hill back up on the inside of Costello now and job done. What will Costello have to say about that as they get down towards turn 1? He tucks back in. I dare say he'll be looking down on the inside before they get to 1.
And they will. He's on the
Hill
outside.
Defends. Hill defends the inside.
He can't move
Costello
now.
outside. Now, can Costello hold it around here? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Oh, Rainer Costello and Matthew Hill side by side through the first 2 corners. Great driving from the youngsters. That's good stuff. Hill holds on for a moment. Morris feeds back in right in the thick of this. Right in the thick of it. As we suspected he might. He's going to let them go. He'll feed back in behind. McCune, Angus, Davis, Barnes. Oh, sorry, my apologies. That wasn't Morris. That was someone. It was one of his teammates. My apologies there.
Lights blazing on Rayner's car, saying, "Matty, let me pass, Matty."
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he knows something we don't, Rayner.
Matty
maybe
saying,
he knows
"No
something
way.
Matty Hill doesn't."
You want to get around me, you go round."
Now Cameron Jones is in. Cameron Jones is in at the end of lap 48 with 10 laps to go.
Yeah. So
It's been a smart race from Cameron Jones.
he'll get out in front of these.
He'll do it well and truly, well and comfortably. Here's Ben Morris now coming into the lane. So my apologies, it was one of Morris's teammates that was feeding back out into the race there a moment ago. That's why they were getting out of the road. If it was Morris, he would have been feeding straight back into it. But here we go. Across the line comes Alex Court. This is going to be a great second place finish for Alex Court if he can go on and convert this here. A tremendous run from him. Started position number 4 on the grid, moved up to 2nd in the early stages and pretty well stayed there through the pit sequences and everything else.
Car was still in the pit. Didn't see the others come out yet.
So just getting word through that there will be a post-race investigation into the Matthew Hill situation. So he'll finish this race and then there'll be a post-race investigation. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Robert Crisdale down the inside in position number 12. On the inside of Chadwick and job done. Jones, Court, Leonage, McNamara, Hill and Costello. Leonage under tremendous pressure because he's got McNamara, Hill and Costello all closing in. Court is there as well. Morris is fed back out into 8th spot behind Scott McCune, away from all of that fighting pack ahead of him. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Jones with an 8.5 second lead over Court. Court with 5.5 over his teammate. And it is so very rare that we see Alex Court with the leverage, with the stranglehold in that teammate battle with Lassif Leonage. This is a big result for Alex Court tonight.
Team orders, hold the other guys back.
No, no, yeah, yeah. I don't think there'll be any team orders tonight because it'll be
Keep
Leonard's
everybody
trying
off
to
me.
keep everybody at bay instead of Court for a change.
Yeah.
No, it's been a great drive from Alex Court, no doubt about that. Lap 50, and we've gone safety car free, folks. We've been racing for an hour and 19, so we're going to get very close to that hour and a half mark. Make sure you stay with us because our post-race show will take you through till about 10:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
And unfortunately, I'll have to leave you pretty quick after finished. I won't be able to stick around for the post-race, but
That's all right, Kisby.
Handle it.
That's all right. Mates, what we will do before you do go is we'll get some closing comments from you and everything else.
yeah.
So stick around because you've also got a nominated driver of the night too. And then we'll let you skip clear.
Well, I think
the
I
post-race
can do
show.
that.
Oh, hang on. David Kirby in the pit lane. He's had a mighty shunt.
Oh,
The simsnap.com iRacing photography replay for you. Just lit it up on the ripple
yeah.
strip.
There we go. A little bit too much.
And it's been a shocker of a night for David Kirby.
Yeah. As I was just saying it before, I mean, I think I'm pretty well made up my mind on the driver of the night, and it's to the debutant. What a drive.
Yeah.
Debut against the calibre of these guys here, and look where he's finished. I
He
think
hasn't finished yet.
No, well, look, yeah. So, get to this position at this point in the race. What do we got? 7 laps to go, 6 laps to go. And failing a bit of misty in his brain,
Yes.
he's going to be doing quite well. So, even if it'd have to go to him to get to this position, be fighting for,
Yep.
I think it's
For
third
sure.
place, is he? Yeah.
Hey, just quickly, Scott McCune in the lane as well. The last pit stop for him. He's had 3 full stints there. Brings it in on lap 51, a short splash and dash to get into the checkered flag.
Matthew
Hill down the inside of McNamara.
Oh,
Not quite. Not quite.
patient.
Costello's in there behind them as well.
Patient there, Matthew. Patient. Yep.
It's given Lassif Leonage a little bit of a breather there on Shaw McNamara, but not for long. Oh, what a night this has been.
Oh,
Hill.
McNamara.
All over the ripple strips, trying to get up on the inside of McNamara. That puts him on the outside for the next corner, turn 11. And will he be able to hold it? The up and under. Watch him go. The only mistake of the night from Matthew Hill.
Commentator's curse.
And not me this time. Rainer
That's not
Costello
good.
goes into 5th on the back of that. And now Hill's going to be under pressure from Benny Morris. Let's have a look at this on the SimSnap.com iRacing replay. Did he get a touch?
Ooh.
Did he get a touch from Rainer?
Okay, so I'm going to go
We
back
need
and look
to
at
have
that.
a look. We need to have a look from the onboard, from the bonnet cam of Rainer Costello, I'd say.
I'm going to go back and have a look.
Or is there some net code? Because that's the only mistake Matthew Hill's made all night, and it may not have been a mistake. Let's see what we can find out here. Oh, no.
Now,
Oh, no.
you may not get it, or you may get it on your...
So the newest rule in the series, on the back of a bit of controversy a couple of weeks ago, is that any net code will be considered contact in the eyes of race control as well. So take from that what you will. But I tell you what, Kisby, this would be costly for Rainer now, given that Lassif and Cameron are starting to skip away in the championship race. Rainer would not be able to afford a penalty here. He needs to keep squeaky clean as far as the championship's concerned. But I've got a feeling the stewards will be looking at that one.
Well, I can tell you now. Okay, so from my slow-mo, and I've changed the camera angle, it is a net code, but Rainer would have hit him anyway.
Copy.
If I was race control, it's definitely a penalty for Rainer.
So unfortunate for the youngster who'd driven a superb race until that point. And Matthew Hill is still showing there as 5th position. So whether Rayner's...
So Rayner could redress here.
Yeah.
Rayner's slowing down, no?
Okay, so interesting there that Hill has now got back through and Rayner's redressed it, but he has not redressed it within the time frame usually allotted. Hill's wide. Hill's very wide there. So, okay, that's the second incident he's been caught up in tonight. But it's been a great performance other than that. So, now, I wonder, because the redress rule's in place, but they were in the last sector of the previous lap. It's a strange...
To me, it would be it depends on the spun driver, how quick he can get back and
exactly.
let him go through.
Correct. Okay, so the rule states, and this is coming courtesy of our director.
Tough, GP.
They're very tough at
I give them 2 laps.
At SuperSeries. That if you don't redress by the time you get back to the control line, so that's the start-finish line, then race control will take it into their own hands. So even though Rayner's redressed, he's done so too late in the eyes of race control. And that's a double whammy, unfortunately, for him. Now, it hasn't been called in either, so as in Matthew Hill hasn't lodged a complaint. He would need to lodge a complaint with race control and say, hey, look at this.
Well, not necessarily.
Race control takes action. So that's why it hasn't been looked at just yet.
Yeah. If it comes up and as a like we focus on crash. And if it comes up as a crash, you will rule on it. You don't need the drivers to ask to have it looked at. So if you see it, you're going to rule on it. So it's whether they saw it through their crash cam or not.
It'll be interesting to see what comes of that when and if race control do look at it. 5 to go in Brazil. What a race this has been. It's been a tremendous performance from Cameron Jones. You can see it there at the top of screen. 9.1 seconds the margin of the rest of the competition. He's smashed them tonight. Court, Leonage, McNamara, Costello, Morris, then Davis, Veacock, Crisdale, and Hill the top 10. So Hill has dropped down out of it now. And just as I say that, my old little timing screens just started to play out for the first time this evening. So on to lap 55 we go. 4 to go for Cameron Jones. Scintillating performance tonight.
Matthew Hill, driver of the night for me.
So Rayner Costello still sits 5th. Matthew Hill's dropped down to 10th. Biggest mover of the night, Blake Urquhart, 14 positions gained. And that's sitting down in position at number 17 at the moment is Blake Urquhart. Brilliant performance from him.
Yeah. I haven't got that information in front of me. You might go through there and have a look at a couple of the others.
In fact, that is the only one in terms. Like, there's no one else that's gained double digits. Sam Katakasinis has gained 7 spots from 30th to 23rd, but no one else has gained double digits. 6 positions gained for Michael Angus, 18th to 12th, 4 for Robert Crisdale, 13th to 9th, 3 for Sean McNamara, 7th to 4th, and 2 for Alex Court in position 4 to 2. He's gone tonight. So, Lassif Leonage has lost one. In fact, it's a night where you can talk about the guys that have lost positions as much as you can, the guys that have gained them. Now, Matthew Hill is back in the pit lane too.
I wonder what's happening there.
No, I'm actually just getting a message from Matthew Hill, a very disgruntled Matthew Hill from pit lane as well. His Fanatec wheel is disconnected.
Oh, no.
And it took off the pit lane speed limiter. And then, it went up a heap in it went up a gear in the pit lane, unfortunately. So he's got to stop and hold for 40 seconds.
Oh, how lucky.
I mean, as if there wasn't enough to talk about post-race already. There's another sting in the tail.
You can still tell him from me that I give him the driver of the night because I thought that was a fantastic drive, and it's always not the drive that wins or comes in the top 5 that gets the driver of the night. It's how they present themselves, and for debut against this calibre of driving and to be in that mix, to me, has to have the driver of the night.
I agree. Have a look at this. Ash Davis in 7th. And Ben Morris in 6th at the moment. Davis all over the back of him. And up to the outside. Can he get the job done? No, he can't. Not just yet.
Have to pull up, looking for an inside run.
So, they make their way around. This is the battle for 6th position in the closing stages of the NCS V8 Super Series. Interlagos 250 with thanks to Wake Cartel. Make sure you get a hold of Matty Davis if you want to snap up any deals from Wake Cartel. All your water sports needs there. As I said earlier in the call, it's been a while between drinks for me being behind a speedboat, but
Oh, mate.
we'll have to get there at some point, I'm sure. Cameron Jones is 2 laps from home, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, your thoughts on everything you've seen? I mean, obviously this battle's not yet decided, but the top 5 is looking pretty safe now.
Pretty safe now, Zach. Yeah, it's been a fantastic run through. The strategy, when to take tyres, how much fuel to put in, the driving standard.
Whoa, Davis up the outside. Couldn't get it done. Sorry, Chris.
No, that's fine. Yep. Every week they astound. And I dream of driving. And eventually, I don't think I'll get to this standard, but drive as cleanly as these guys do is probably one of my aims, and the guys in the TSR. See, no yellows again, especially with turn 1. Here we go.
Look at
Davis
this. Side by side. Morris and Davis. Hammer and tong for 6th position in the closing stages here. Still can't get the job done. Morris has driven phenomenally to keep him at bay for the better part of the evening. And now he's just got to do it for another couple of laps. We're past the 1 hour, 30-minute mark.
This new smoke mod that's come with the smoke coming with the last update a couple of times ago, it makes it so hard to see through.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. Last lap of the motor race. Lap 58 for Cameron Jones. We're on the run home. And what a performance this has been from Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, took pole position, led early, Rayner got by, then Cameron found a way back by, led through the pit stop sequence, was the effective race leader for much of the night, and will clean up with everything here. And I'm not sure where we are with regards to incident points, but obviously it'll be the bonus points for pole position, and maybe the bonus points for the clean race as well. But whatever the case may be, this guy's going to win the round tonight. The first enduro of the season. What a performance it's been from Cameron Jones.
And
a much-needed return to form, Chris Kisby. He needed to bounce back after the disappointment of last week, and he's had a couple of rough rounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we've been watching, it's shown the potential, shown he's fast enough, but a couple of unlucky thing. I don't know what happened last week, but he's had a couple of unlucky races, and to show the form back again, it's really good. But we say it every week.
Yeah, we do. I'll come back to you, Kisby. Jones across the line to take the checkered flag.
Lights are blazing.
It's all out for him. It's all over. He dominates and smashes the competition to win the Wake Cartel Interlagos 250. Jones does it in Brazil. Round 10 of the NCS Super Series goes to the number 190 from lights out to the checkered flag. Pole and the win. It doesn't get much better than that on a Tuesday night.
Kudos to Alex Court, too, coming in second stage.
Extraordinary performance from Alex Court to come home in second. Lassif Leonage, what is it about those guys? They're like glue. They stick together. Second and third again. Oh, Courtney Leonage, McNamara in for 4th. Costello, Morris, Davis, the top 7. Brisdale's going to bring it home in 8th position. Then Cameron Veacock and Simon Chadwick. But it's all about that guy tonight. The bearded assassin, Cameron Jones. He's got the job done. Very nice performance and a bounce back that was much needed.
Fantastic, Cameron. So what can you say about it? If you weren't excited tonight, some of the battles that are going on, you're pretty hard to. These guys put on a great every week, and I'm just down to their driving.
I've been getting correspondence from Matthew Hill. He's come home a lap down. The problem for him was the wheelbase. He's not quite sure what was happening there, but it kept losing power in the closing stages. So obviously he had some internet difficulties early, then the wheelbase. So it's been one of those nights for...
As long as he didn't tell you that he got to screw it in and we pulled back on it and it fell off.
No. All is well. Oh, dear. Hey, let's celebrate with Cameron Jones here on the main straight. Let's see if he pulls it onto the main straight to do some burnouts, or if he's going to... No, he's going to bring it straight into the pit lane. No celebration required from Cameron Jones tonight. Interesting. No celebrations from Jones. He's in the lane. He's going to park it.
Got up in last time.
Must have done. And we won't see any antics, shenanigans,
whatever you want to call it,
or showmanship from Jones, but that's okay. There are the results on your screen. Cameron Jones, Alex Courtney, Lassif, Leonard, Sean McNamara in for 4th, Rainer Costello, Ben Morris, Ash Davis, the top 7. Crisdale, Chadwick and Veacock take us back to 10 again. 5 and 5 in the top 10, but the top 4 were all Holden. Angus in 11th, Crossingham and Barnes, then Dawson and Urquhart, McEwen, Powell, Caldwell, Hobbs and Siren take us back to the top 20 positions. 21st was Catakazinas, 22nd was Cooper, then a lap down. Have a look at this for a caliber of drivers. Hill, Michael, Newell, Mulford, Schultz, Vella, Kirby and Schultz, the top 30. And Schultz was 2 laps down, it's important to note. Then we get into the retirements. Jim Delios was 5 laps down, David Leslie 7 laps down. John Nicolau for retirement, Simon Vella. And that is that because Matt Davis, of course, did not start.
I just noticed that Matthew Hill had a blue sticker. Nice, well done, even better.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
unfortunately, it just wasn't first on race day for him.
No.
Or anyone else in the Ford Brigade, for that matter. Chris, we're not far off letting you go. Obviously, you've got some things to attend to here. Obviously, I'll see you tomorrow night for GSRC action.
You will, in the car and in commentator.
And looking forward to that. But this NTS series just keeps getting better and better and better. The caliber, the standard, the show. I mean, round 10 didn't disappoint. A track that we all love. A fast-flowing track for the first Enduro of the year. 1 hour, 34 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, you said it all. You put it in a nutshell there, Zach. I can't add anything to that because it does. It gets better and better each week. And as we're calling it, drivers getting to know each other, knowing where they can pass, where they can't pass. I see Cameron and Laz in the green room already waiting for you to pull them in there and give them a good talking to. Fantastic racing. Looking forward to next week there. And from me, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and watching us there. And just before I go, congratulations there, Cameron. We need to change that logo on the front of yours there from a lion to a blue disc. But you know that I'm not biased towards that blue oval. So great drive leading go to Woke, and it was really enjoyable and learning. Laz, same with you, mate. I sit there and I watch you guys every week, and I'm just learning, and my racecraft is getting better and better and better. Alex, great drive tonight, mate. I think one of the other guys, my driver of the night, and thanks for the Facebook message. And no, you're not going to make me into a Lions supporter, so I'm going to stick with the blue disc.
Very nicely done, Chris Kisby. Thank you for that. Hey, just quickly before we let you go, I believe I'm right in saying Charlotte Roval's the next stop next week, and it's the second leg of the Triple Crown. So,
yeah.
and it's a completely different circuit to Interlagos. The pressure's really going to be on next week.
Oh, mate, These Rovals, they're not. To be honest, mate, I'm not a fan of the Roval, and I don't know why. I'd rather go around in a circle in the road course. But having said that, in our up and comers tomorrow night, we've got a road course. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. See how the guys handle those tight, tricky Rovals.
And very nicely done, mate. Thank you to you for your company throughout the course of the night. And we'll let you go. And I'll see you tomorrow night. And of course, we'll see you again here next week.
Yeah, good night, mate. Good night, viewers, and congratulations all. Thanks to JP for the great broadcast.
All right, let's get stuck into the top three post-race press conference here, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. The first endurance race of the season, the Wake Cartel Interlagos 250 from the Interlagos circuit in Sao Paulo, Brazil. First and only trip to South America, and I think we need more South American circuits on the sim racing, the iRacing platform. Although that being said, they need to come to Australia as well and fix that up too. But nevertheless, let's get stuck in here because it was a cracking race. Cameron Jones, I'm going to start with you, mate. Congratulations. That was a much-needed return to form. It hasn't been the easiest season thus far. There have been a couple of highlights along the way, but there have been a couple of testing moments as well. Tonight couldn't have gone any better than that.
No, I was really hoping for it. Just shows that consistency pays off way more in a championship than winning races, but you can always come back stronger from it. Wins help with that.
Exactly, mate. And tonight, I mean, it was fast and intense early. You and Rainer Costello really got stuck into it. You skipped there. You let Alex and you left Alex and Laz in the wake there, and then all of a sudden it looked like the youngster was wanting to really duke it out with you. So all of a sudden, you're on the back foot. You're sitting there in second. Were you content to let Rainer go and set the pace? What was the plan of attack?
If I couldn't pull away in the first two laps, I was happy to let him go past. I knew my tyre, like I could look after my tyres better behind someone, which I was really comfortable doing. And then I seen Laz really starting to catch up, so I thought I better get a move on.
Tyres is a big talking point tonight. Am I right to assume that because it was 250 kilometres, because you only had one new fresh set at your disposal, am I right to assume that everyone's taken them at the halfway mark here?
I planned on taking them in the last stop, but I couldn't make it that far, so stop. Yeah,
all right. We'll get to Laz and also Alex and get their thoughts on that a little bit later on as well. But mate, in the end, it's hard to know where to start because just 1 second. I just got a message here from Rainer Costello, exactly on the point we were just talking about. Sorry, I couldn't do it for the Ford boys, but the tyres just didn't last well. I didn't look after them well enough. So that was the trick tonight, wasn't it? Because there were no extra tyres at your disposal, but there were extra pit stops and there were extra kilometres. Nursing the tyres, looking after them, managing them, and also managing your fuel load as well, trying to stretch the run out to 17, or even a couple of people managed to get an 18-lap stint out. There were a couple of important elements to the race tonight, not least tyre wear.
Yeah, I find it much easier to control when you're behind someone, and you get the benefit of saving all the fuel as well.
Well, yeah, exactly right. Talk us through the race from your standpoint, mate, because it's a bit hard to know where to direct the conversation with you, because it's not like you got caught in any real battles after you got clear of Rainer the second time. You didn't look back, and you didn't really have anyone hassling you for track position.
Yeah, I got a bit lost in the middle stint when like Sean was right on me, and I'm like, oh, what have I stuffed up something here? And yeah, just once the last stop happened, it was more comfortable, and I knew I had a bit of a buffer over everyone.
Okay, just getting some breaking news here from Race Control as well. We mentioned that Matthew Hill would be a post-race investigation, and he ended up coming across the line 1 lap down because of the wheel issues and a few other factors that unfolded there. He's going to end up getting disqualified because he's admitted to Race Control to applying the wrong number to his car. So he gets DQ'd. And Lassif Leonage, ladies and gentlemen, the only driver with a clean race bonus tonight as well. But Cameron, my calculations suggest that you will still win the round because you get the 5 bonus points for pole position, mate. So it's a double whammy. You get the round, you get the race. Everything goes in your favour tonight. Yes, sure, it would have been nice to get those 5 bonus points for a clean race as well, but a win means more at this point of the championship, because really the guys ahead of you, including your teammate Cameron Veacock, they were starting to build a nice healthy buffer for themselves. You started to slowly rein that back in tonight. You're not without a chance over the next 7 weeks, are you?
At this stage, I'm pretty happy just to help Cameron out. Had a bit of a horrible race tonight, so it was hard for him to benefit off it.
I was going to say it's a swing in fortunes, really, because last week the shoe was on the other foot. It was him having the good race and you having the shocker. It's I mean, it must be frustrating that it's been that way for much of the season, that when he's had a good race, you've had a shocker, and vice versa. There's not been too many occasions where we've said that's 2 good races for the teammates.
Yeah, it's just I can't remember what I was going to say now. Sorry.
You're right.
I've had a mental blank.
I can understand that, actually.
Yeah,
After
I've totally lost it. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I mean, to be fair, that's another point. How are you feeling fatigue-wise, mentally, after an extra, well, what our races normally are, they're about 51, 52 minutes. You've spent an extra 40 minutes in the rig tonight, an extra 100 Ks. How much more has that taken out of you physically?
I didn't even do a burnout, so that's how tired I am.
Well, we noticed that. We wondered where the post race showmanship and antics were, but they were nowhere to be seen. We thought it might have been a fuel issue as well, but no, it wasn't the case. It was just you're absolutely knackered, mate. Stay there. I'll let you compose yourself, have a drink, refuel the system, rehydrate. We'll come back to you very shortly. Let's jump across to Alex Court now, who finished second tonight, and a nice turn in fortune here as well. We're talking about Cameron Jones and Cameron Veacock and the swinging results for the teammates. It's the same here for you, Alex. You finally got one up on Laz.
Yeah, it feels good. It's always nice to get a clean start to the race, lap 1. So yeah, pumped to get P2.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just go through the motions here, because it was a beautiful clean start for you. You capitalized early, and it looked like this track really agreed with you. You've openly said to me in the last couple of weeks in this broadcast booth that Laz has got the edge on you in terms of outright speed. Tonight the shoe was on the other foot. It must have been nice to ride with that and run with that and convert on your opportunity for not just a podium finish, but to finish ahead of Laz as well.
Yeah, definitely. All through practice, I mean, this week Laz has had the pace on me. So I think it came down to strategy tonight. So thanks to my crew chief Aaron for helping me out with strategy this week. Yeah.
Man of a few words. Would I be right in saying that you're yet to come down off cloud 9 after your weekend at Simmons Plains, mate?
Oh yeah, she was a pretty good weekend down there. Yeah.
I saw the photos on Facebook. I knew you were enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So talk us through your race, because again, you ran that different strategy. So you were sitting a little bit lower in the order as a result for much of the night, and it was only towards the back end where you crept back up into that second position and you cemented yourself at the top end of town. Was it a tactical decision with the crew chief to go on a different strategy to everyone else, because you pitted 2 laps earlier than everybody else in the first stint?
Yeah, no, that was tactical. Sure. Yep. Yeah, look, as far as the race goes, got a good start. Happy with that. Always a little bit nervous with my starts, but if they go right, it's good. If they go wrong, it goes pretty bad. But yeah, touch wood, they've been pretty good lately.
The Interlagos circuit also, I mean, it's such a great equalizer because it's got something for everybody. This track, it's got fast flowing sections, it's got uphill, downhill. It's a little bit of undulation involved. It's a circuit of character, and tonight everywhere we looked, there was a battle everywhere. I mean, I remember a little bit towards the midpoint of the race, you had your hands full with a couple of different guys. It might have been McNamara and young Rainer Costello, and there might have been one more in there if memory serves. But How'd you handle the traffic? How'd you handle the pressure of the intensity of that race? Because it was on from lap 1 to 58, mate.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Look, I just went about it as any other race. I had Aaron in my ear the whole race, keeping me calm and collected. Had a pretty good battle there with Benny Morris. I think it was after my first pit stop.
Yep.
And in the end, he was catching me pretty quickly, so I decided to let him go and then jumped in pits. Yeah, so
Well, it was interesting too because we had no safety cars tonight, so it was a case of where when a driver made a mistake or brought themselves unstuck, it really cost them. And for Ben, he had a slip coming out of the pit lane on his second stop, which brought him right undone, and he ended up only managing sixth in the end. But we have had a feeling, had a sneaky suspicion that he might have taken fresh rubber in the first stop rather than the second. And then it might have been the tyres were starting to go off and he had to nurse them on the way home. His times did drop as the night went on. So it was interesting to observe all of that. How did you play the tyre game, mate? Was it straight down the middle, pit stop number 2?
yeah, pit stop number 2 for tyres.
Good
Yep.
stuff. What do you like? I mean, obviously, you seem to, because obviously, every week we ask a driver what they think of the circuit. This one, clearly, I sense that this is one that you like.
To be honest, it's not really one. It's not really a track I enjoy.
Well, you could have fooled me after tonight's result.
Look, it's not a bad track. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Let's go to Lassif Leonage at this point in time. Alex, stay there with me. We'll come back to you very shortly, mate. Lassif Leonage, third. Another podium finish. The consistency continues. You were fastest in the early part of the qualifying session. Cameron, of course, come out and pipped you in the end, and so too. Well, no, sorry, that was it because you finished second there, but off the start, Alex was able to get on top of you. It was an interesting night at the office for you, Laz. Not the result we might have expected by looking at the pre-qualifying form. We would have expected you to be first or second. Just talk us through your night as you continue to lead the championship with another consistent performance.
Yeah, didn't quite go to my plan in Collie when Cam got a decent lap right at the bat, and it was difficult to try and match that. So I just kept on at it and managed to get off to a reasonably decent time with only a 10.1 of a second slower than him. But yeah, the race. Definitely a bit of a disappointing one, to be honest. I know I'm on the podium, but my first pit stop, I got stuck with Matthew Hill, who was blinking all over the joint, and
Yep.
I wasn't sure where to place the car without trying to get a 0x, and I think Sean and Raina had the same issue, so we were all being very cautious around him, but we could not quite overtake him either. So the rest of the pack just took off. And all of a sudden, there's a gap of 5-6 seconds to Alex. So that's when I knew I had to really aggressively fuel save and try and gain some spots back. But yeah, second pit stop, I got the tires. Car felt good. Trying to claw my way back and got held up in traffic a little bit as well, which did not help. But towards the end, I knew Sean was looked like he was fuel saving as well, so I had the opportunity to just back off because I knew I couldn't catch Alex. He was too far in front, so yeah, just played the game and got to P3.
So that it does make it hard, doesn't it, when it's such a closely contested series and when it's such a hotly contested race and the field's so tightly bunched that when you do have a small gap established, that there's just no way to catch the cars in front unless they make a mistake or they engage in a duel and hold each other up along the way. It would have been a race where a safety car might have actually worked into your favour after that hold up with Matthew Hill there.
Yeah, I reckon the safety car would have definitely helped quite a few of us there, but obviously everyone kept it reasonably clean, so did not have a safety car, which is good for a 58 lap race.
Very, very good, actually. Exemplary driving performance from all and sundry. On that subject, Alex Court, I need to come back to you because I got a memo in my earpiece halfway through the race that suggested that we weren't sure whether you'd make it to the finish or not. How are the wrists holding up, mate?
It's pretty sore. Pretty sore.
So
Yeah.
what exactly what happened? How'd you damage the wrist, and how did you try and manage that pain wise tonight?
Look, it's been an ongoing issue pretty much since the middle of last season. So I've just got to bite the tongue and put up with the pain, unfortunately. Then after the races, ice packs, Panadol.
That's the way I assume you've already got someone on to getting the Panadol and ice pack to you.
Yep.
Good
No one
man.
now.
Very good. Stay with us then. Lads, 10 rounds down, you're the championship leader. You've got a run of consistent podium finishes stacking up quite nicely here. What are your thoughts on the Charlotte Roval as that's the next stop of the championship?
It's probably my least favorite track out of the bunch. I'll be happy to somehow get into the top 5 and finish the race in the top 5, hopefully. Let's see how we go.
And of course, it is a round of the Triple Crown as well. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out next week. But how does Interlagos stack up for you, lads? Obviously, judging by what you just said about Charlotte, this is a circuit that you like compared to next week. So obviously not ideal to finish third, but still good in terms of the overall picture of the championship, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind this track at all. It's not one of my favorites, but I actually enjoyed driving on it. And to me, yes, it's third place, but getting that 5 bonus points on top, it's like a race win to me, man.
Exactly right. Yeah, well, actually, that's one very good way of looking at it with the extra points you get for the clean race there, and of course Cameron gets the extra points for pole position as well. So as far as the round's concerned, it'll be Jones, Leonage, and Court on points there. If I'm right in saying so, championship points will be with us very shortly as well, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to them very soon. Apparently, it's on my queue. We'll get to them very shortly. Hey, can I come back? I'll come back to Cameron right now. It's got to be performances like that from here on in for you, mate, hasn't it? I mean, you've got to give your all and hope for the best as far as looking towards the outright championship is concerned. Obviously, you've got one eye on trying to help Cameron Veacock there, but if track position is yours and you're in a position to make a charge, no doubt, I sense that there's a racer's intuition to go for it here.
Oh, we're all racers, so yeah, if I'm far enough out in front or something like that, or Cameron's too far back, I'll go for it. But every time we talk about something like this, I have a horrible race. So
not
That's-
that
they
we
will
try and
go.
put the knock on you or anything, but it just seems to work out terribly poorly that way. But obviously, this is a nice little. This couldn't have come at a better time for you. A nice little confidence booster going to the Charlotte Roval. What are your thoughts?
It's not much forgiveness at this track, so yeah, as Les said, a top 5 finish would be nice. Obviously, a first would be better, but finishing is the first thing to do.
Indeed, it is. On that subject, Alex Court, your thoughts on next week and then obviously sprint racing the week after as we head to the UK for the first of 3 rounds in Great Britain in what is the final 7 rounds of the championship. Can you believe the season's gone so quickly?
It's crazy how fast it's going. As for next week, yeah, the track, I don't like it at all. I would rather race at Interlagos.
Well, isn't that actually there's an interesting question. because we've got a little bit of time to kill here before we get the championship points up and we get you guys to thank some sponsors and we sign off here. When you look at the 17 rounds, obviously there are some circuits that if you could visit twice and race in different formats, be it Super Sprint or Enduro or whatever, no doubt you would sign up for it. But is there any track in the 17 that we race at, Alex, that you think, is there, when you look at the 17 races, the calendar, I should say, are there any tracks that are in the iRacing server that you'd like to see in there instead of, say, the Charlotte Roval or Donington or some other track that we've got on the calendar?
Look, one of my favourite tracks, the Twin Ring Motegi.
The what?
Twin Ring Motegi, interesting choice.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. Elaborate on that for us. I just wanted to, because there was a question asking what the hell were you talking about. But yes, the Twin Ring Motegi was what you said. Go on, mate. Finish the point.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting track. I've raced it quite a bit in GT cars. Yeah, I just think it'd be a good track to have the V8s run there.
What about you, Laz? Any circuits in the server that you look at that aren't in the NCS series and you think, well, we should have a crack at this?
Why did we not have Phillip Island this season?
Well, it got substituted for Hockenheim, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
Lime Rock, I should say.
Lime Rock.
Lime Rock and Hockenheim. Yeah. So Phillip Island's been subbed out as well. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So obviously, okay, outside of Phillip Island?
Outside of Phillip Island, I think we got all the tracks. I mean, it's a 17 round season this time. We covered a lot of the tracks. Only Aussie track that we didn't cover is Phillip Island. So yeah.
Correct, exactly. Hey, Cameron Jones, what about your thoughts, mate? Any circuits that you look at on the server that you've run in other series or whatever the case may be that you think it'd be nice to have that in as opposed to insert track here that you don't like?
I would place Roval with, I think it could be in that series or not. Imola, I don't know if it is or not.
It's not, but you're right. That's a track in the iRacing server. Yep.
I'd happily replace it with that. And
of course, Imola's fresh in everyone's minds on the back of Formula One there over the course of the weekend as well. And you're right. And like the Interlagos circuit, it's nice that we still have a couple of circuits at our disposal that have that true character. Yes, Imola's a bit different to what it was in 94 due to the events of 94, but it's still old school. It's still got character. Brazil's old school. A lot of the circuits that we see coming in nowadays, like Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, etc. and so forth, they just lack a little bit of character because there's not as much undulation. They're a bit flat, etc. and so forth. So, and I know the new circuit that they were proposing for Brazil, everyone was like, don't take the Grand Prix away from Interlagos because Interlagos still has character. It's the way of motorsport though these days. They go with the money and they go with the safety element, despite the fact that every motor racing circuit in the world has that illustrious sign hanging up out the front. Motor racing is dangerous. I can say the same for sim racing. It's fraught with danger because, as Laz found out earlier tonight, you get stuck behind someone pinging in and out. You don't know exactly how to play it. But of course, that's the problem with relying on everyone's internet to be intact for 2.5 hours at a time. Alex, well, actually, let's have a look at the championship standings now, JP, if we can, because then I can start to have a chat about where they sit. And it's actually been an all right night for Alex Court and Cameron Jones. Have a look at that. They're both in the top 5, and now only 101 points separates the top 5 in this championship. Oh, she's on with 7 rounds to go at the end of the Wake Cartel Interlagos 250. Lasif Leonage 14.79 plays Cameron Veacock 14.33. So Laz has extended his margin tonight with Veacock having a shocker. Lorena Costello 13.98, 13.80 for Alex Court and 13.78 for Cameron Jones. Then Ben Morris is a little bit further back. Blake Urquhart, Alan Dawson, Robert Crisdale and Ash Davis make up the top 10. 368 points between first and 10th at the moment. So really, if we're fair dinkum, it's a race of 5, and that's requiring Laz to have a couple of shockers along the way to make it a race of 5, I would say. McNamara, McCune, Schultz, Brewer, Powell, Schultz, Barnes, Catakazinas, Mulford, and Vella take us back to position number 20. then Brian Cooper, Simon Chadwick, Ben Siren, Darren Caldwell, Lindsay Hobbs, Chris Ireland, Craig Newell, Wade Michael, David Kirby, and Simon Vella back to 30th position. We'll let that keep rolling there for you. Obviously, no points for Matty Hill tonight because he got disqualified for not running the right race number, and that's interesting going forward. Just those little 1%ers that if you muck it up, you pay the price. But he's already assured me that he'll be back next week with the right number and ready to have another proper crack. So looking forward to that. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Good sportsmanship from Matty for owning that. Stewards dragged him in post-race, whacked him across the knuckles, but he owned it. He didn't try and fight it. He said, yep, no, guilty as charged. You know, put the hand out, get the cane, slap on the wrist, off you go. Yep, that's it. No, very nicely done. I like how he's handled that. And he's a good young kid too. Now, Alex Court, you look at those championship standings, you got Cameron Jones breathing down your neck. What's the plan of attack for the next 7 weeks? Do you play a supporting role to Laz, or are you not conceding that this championship is over just yet?
Oh, you never concede until the final race. Look, for me, you know, score as many points as I can each round. So obviously I want to try and outscore Cam every round. But look, you know, as long as I finish top 5, I'm happy. So that's my aim.
Indeed. Laz, you're the championship leader. You've got a nice little buffer there. Obviously, it's interesting as much as we talk about Cameron Veacock and Cameron Jones swapping places tonight and Jones leading the way. It was also the same for you and Alex Court, but not as costly because you finished right behind Court, whereas Veacock was down in 10th position. So in that respect, it's been a big win tonight for you. Take the 5 bonus points for the clean race, take the 3rd position, extend your margin, almost double it, in fact, over Cameron Veacock, but still too close to be comfortable at this stage, I would imagine.
Oh, you never be comfortable with this kind of talent that we have in the top 5 to 10. So just keep doing what I'm doing and keep it consistent and finish races. That's the main thing, and get as many points as you can.
Indeed, that is the case. And obviously, I get the feeling, considering the way all 3 of you have spoken with regards to next week, that you're going to be a little bit more comfortable with how things stand once you see how next week plays out. Because next week, being the concrete canyon that it is, it could be home of a shocker for any one of a number of drivers.
That is true. But the following round after that, it's a reverse grid. So that's going to play a big part in how the championship goes as well.
Could you imagine, just think about this, ladies and gentlemen, could you imagine the reverse grid at the Charlotte Roval? Oh, geez, that'd be fraught with danger. Wouldn't that be fun? But thankfully that's Donington Park, and there are a few more overtaking opportunities available at Donington Park. The numbers in this series so far have been superb, ladies and gentlemen. We couldn't do it without the support of the following people who support the NCS V8 Super Series: Nationwide Tracking Systems, Racecraft Simulations, Blue Stampede, Labour Hire, Hybrid Racing Simulations, TGM, Parramatta, Dragon, RC, and Abruzzi. Also, Track Cams for Gourmet, Wake Cartel, Melbourne Hydrographics Depot, anyone else that I might have missed along the way there. But, I mean, thank you to one and all, be it round sponsors, season sponsors, Track Cams, or anything along the way, sponsors for supporting the NCS Super Series Season 1 of 2021. Getting towards the end of our broadcast window here, I'm not going to drag it out to 10:30. I don't think anyone deserves that sort of punishment after 94 minutes in the chair. And I mean, I've asked Cameron, and he said he's completely and utterly knackered, and you can sense it in his voice. You can just sense him starting to doze off and want to go to sleep. So we're not going to hold him up too much longer. What about you and Alex and Laz? I mean, I'll start with you, Laz. How do you feel after an extra 40 minutes behind the sim there, mate?
I'm wrecked.
and it doesn't help that I mean, it's a testament to the caliber of the drivers in the series that we didn't have a safety car tonight, but it doesn't help you guys in terms of your fatigue at the end of the night, does it? Because 150 kilometer sprint, that's all good and well. 50 minutes, you know, that's a fair workout. But then to go an extra 100 kilometers and not get a chance to just rest the arms at some point along the way there, it really takes its toll.
Yeah, it definitely does. I run a direct drive wheel, so the feedback it gives me, it's like a real race car. So and some of the guys who runs them, and they know how taxing it is on the body when you do a longer race.
What advice are you going to give Rehan going into tomorrow night, mate? Because he goes from racing 100 kilometres to racing 200.
He's an athlete, mate, so he'll be fine.
An athlete at what? How old is he? 10, 11?
He's 11. He's he's a state level sprinter, so he'll be fine.
Excellent stuff. I love it. Alex Court, what about you, mate? How's the body after that workout?
Not gonna lie, it's pretty painful. But I'll rest up, recover, and back in the sim tomorrow, practicing for Oval.
At this point in time, I sense that these drivers are incredibly thankful for the fact that we don't make them drive the 1000 at the end of the year on their own. Could you imagine the torture they'd be going through if that was the case? But that actually raises an interesting point, doesn't it? Because Laz, you and Alex teamed up last year for the Goodyear Autocare Run Bathurst 1000. What do you do between stints on a day like that where you've got the opportunity? Well, you've obviously got to keep an eye on how your mate is going and how your race is faring, but you've also got that opportunity to just rest and unwind. Do you get up and have a little bit of a stretch? What do you do?
Yeah, have a little bit of a stretch, get some fluid in you, and have a little snack, and yeah, get ready for your next stint.
And Alex, obviously, very much the same from your end, I would imagine. Although the climate down there in Tassie probably isn't hot in the middle of December like it is the rest of the country.
She gets pretty warm in the sim room. As
Make
far
that
as doing things in between stints, yeah, pretty much sort of the same sort of thing as Laz. I'll follow quite a bit of his stint actually, and just be there for spotting if need be, and general encouragement. But yeah, get around, stretch the legs, hydrate.
Good stuff. Hey, Cameron Jones, will we see you and Cameron Veacock team up at the end of the year, or have you got some other gun drivers lined up in the stable there?
I say we'll both have different drivers, but I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Depends on their schedule. They're pretty busy, so.
Yeah, I was going to say it's still a fair way away as well. We're not quite out of April yet, and we're talking about December already, but it's always nice to get in and be prepared for it. It's 16 past 10 in the east, 16 past 8 in the west. We thank everybody for their company and their insights tonight, and their comments on social media, and their observance of what's been an interesting round of the championship. And we very much hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll have a look at what's ahead as far as SimShed Broadcasting is concerned in just a moment. But before that, I want to get these drivers, actually it's on your screen already, I want to get these drivers to thank all of their great sponsors and their supporters, without whom tonight would not be possible for them. So we'll start with the winner, Cameron Jones. The floor is yours.
All right, I'll thank all the boys at United Sim Sports, my teammate for just the encouragement along the way. KCLD Cleaning, Germani Trophies and Engraving, Origin Graphics, 87 Creative, JR Productions Media, High Performance Videos, Harab, Adrad, Natrad, Valvoline, Too Easy Finance, Western Mazda, and Parramatta Isuzu.
Lasif Leonage and Alex Court. The floor is yours, Laz. Actually, no, we'll go to Alex first because Alex was second. Alex, and we'll come back to Laz in a minute. Alex?
So first of all, Racing with Autism Australia and all sorts of disability services, SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking System, Goodyear Autocare Arana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding, Rootsy Racewear Australia, VR Cover, Cars for Hope, Blue Stampede Labour and Hire. Also, just want to say thanks to my wife, as always, for supporting me, all the teammates, team, JP, yeah, everyone. Laz, well done again.
Thanks, mate.
All right, Laz, go. All yours, mate.
Apologies for before. I had my mic on mute. I was talking to myself.
That'll do it. Everybody.
SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking Systems, Goodyear Autocare Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Abruzzi Australia, VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing for Autism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and everyone in the background who does a lot of work to keep the series going, JP, and you guys in commentary as well. And congrats, Cam and Alex, for your positions tonight.
Well done, boys. Fantastic stuff as per usual. Great to have your insights as always. Any final thoughts? Anything that I haven't touched on? Because I sit here every week and I think, have I mentioned enough? Have we discussed enough? Anything else you guys want to add before I let you go? I was going to say.
I know I need to get a new pair of shoes before week.
Well, that. There's an interesting point in itself. Sometimes the wear and tear, it's not just on the equipment; it's on the footwear as well, Alex. Clearly.
Yeah, a couple of times my shoe actually got caught on the pedal.
Well,
So-
thankfully, it didn't end in disaster there for you, my friend. Well done. Second tonight. Hopefully the good results keep coming for you. Cameron Jones, a bounce back win and a much needed turnaround in form and fortune. And Lassifley is just being Mr. Consistent as he continues to lead the championship and even extend it despite not winning the race tonight. Boys, congratulations. Well done. Appreciate your time and your help as always. And your insights post-race here and the show you've put on throughout the course of the night, not just you, but the rest of the field as well. Brilliant performance and entertainment throughout what was 250 kilometres around one of the faster tracks we go to. Well done, and we'll catch up with you next week from the Rival.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good stuff. Lassie Vlinage, Cameron Jones, Alex Court, the podium tonight in this round of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series. We're done. It's been a big night. It's been a big week already, and it's only 2 days old, but there's plenty more where that came from for you on SimShed Broadcasting. This wouldn't have been possible without the help of Nationwide Tracking Systems, Racecraft Simulations, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, Hybrid Racing Simulations, PGM Parramatta, Dragon RC, Abruzzi, and Track Cams for Gourmet. Also, Melbourne Hydrographics Defo, and of course, it was the Wake Cartel 250. So get around Wake Cartel on social platforms and keep abreast of all the great stuff that Matty Davis is doing there. There's the broadcast schedule for you, ladies and gentlemen. How good is this going to be? Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series next Tuesday night. That's going to go back to 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time next Tuesday night. It will be the Charlotte Roval. It will be the sprint round of the Triple Crown. I'm looking forward to that. Super Sprint the week after from Donington Park. So a couple of really good weeks ahead for Nationwide Tracking Systems Series. Tomorrow night, Goodyear Autocare V8 T2E Series, the 200 from Interlagos, and that will be from 7:50 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time with an 8 o'clock race start. And then have a look at the new addition to the schedule there. Saturday night, we're working overtime this week. I don't know if I get to charge overtime, but we're working overtime all the same, ladies and gentlemen. The short shift Sim Racing Magazine Anzac Cup for you. The stock car series there for the Weekend Warriors. NASCAR Talladega. How good's that going to be? Saturday night, the Anzac Cup, the eve of Anzac Day. Of course, we will have all the usual Anzac commemorations in the pre-race ceremony there for you. I'm looking forward to it immensely. Get out and get amongst that. We, of course, if you're watching our race, it's a late finish, early start to get up for the dawn service on telly, or whether you're going to one locally in your area, or, of course, lighting up the dawn like we all did last year under the cover of COVID. So, Anzac Cup, Saturday night, great way to launch into one of the greatest days on the annual calendar, not just from a sporting standpoint, but from a respective standpoint with everything that we celebrate and commemorate on Anzac Day. So NASCAR, Saturday night, looking forward to that from Talladega. Of course, North American sport very much at the forefront of all of our minds at the moment after the IndyCar season opener from Barber on Monday morning as well. That's it. We're done. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks to Matt Davis and Chris Kisby. Thanks to you at home as well for your company throughout the course of the evening and for staying with us through an extended broadcast here, the first of our Enduros for the season. And we're looking forward to very much more where that came from when we get to not just the next 6 rounds of the championship, but the 17th and final one over 250 kilometres from the best real estate in the land, the Mount Panorama Circuit for the Bathurst 250 at the end of the season on June 8. We are only 7 weeks away now from that grand final. We cannot wait for that, but 6 thrilling sprint rounds to get through before then, all starting with the Charlotte Roval next week. Don't forget to join Matt and Andrew tomorrow night for the Goodyear Auto Carolina V8 T2E series, and I'll see you Saturday night for the NASCARs until we meet again next Tuesday night. However, on behalf of Matt Davis, Chris Kisby, and the team, I'm Zach Caban saying a very good night to you from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, where Cameron Jones has bounced back to win round 10 at the NTS V8 Super Series, the Wake Cartel Interlagos 250 from Alex Court and Lasif Leonage. Until we meet again, goodbye for now.